from the game, and there are a few big surprises. First up, from rainbow flicks to pancake flips. Ex-Chelsea and Southampton defender Ken Monku switched up his footballing career to buy a Dutch pancake house. He bought out the shop, which had been his favourite pancake spot as a child, and before long he was mixing the batter and getting behind the stove. Next, Everton legend Thomas Gravesen swapped out the high stakes of the Premier League for those of the poker room. He made over 150 appearances for the Toffees and won the Scottish Premier League with Celtic. Turned out the Danish international was pretty darn good at poker. He racked up a reported £100 million from his Las Vegas adventures. Remember former Chelsea goalkeeper Petr Cech? Turns out football nets weren't the only goals he was pretty handy in front of. After retirement, he became a goaltender in ice hockey. Same skills, very different surface. And he even won a Division 2 title with Guildford Phoenix. For ex-Liverpool centre-back Daniel Agger, it wasn't just fancy footwork that was in his blood. He was also pretty good with his hands. The Denmark international turned to tattoo artistry after he hung up his boots. He'd qualified as a skin artist while at Anfield, and he then became the co-owner of his own tattoo company as well. It's not all glamour for ex-pros, though. 1966 World Cup winner Ray Wilson set up a very different kind of business. He became an undertaker after he retired. Finally, not many people can say they've won both a World Cup and starred in an Oscar-winning film. In fact, there's only one person in the entire world who can say that. Frank Leboeuf, the former Chelsea defender, was part of the 1998 France squad who won the World Cup. He ended up marking Brazil's Ronaldo in the final and helped his side to a 3-0 win. But Leboeuf had already begun acting on the side while he was playing football, and his biggest role came some years after his retirement when he landed the part of a doctor in the Stephen Hawking biopic The Theory of Everything.
I embrace the career of acting, so I want to learn more. So seeing lots of movies is a part of my job.
To be honest, with all the dramatic diving in the game,
here.
Oh, and he's found the net! What a run and what a goal!
There.
He hits it first time, what a volley, what a goal!
On Sundays.
Oh, what a goal!
We are everywhere. On DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM. Strap yourself in. It's Destination Football. The Sunday Session on talkSPORT.
Hello and welcome to the Sunday Session with me, Sam Matterface, and the former Arsenal winger, Perry Groves. We've got action from the WSL for you. Scotland's World Cup qualifier against Belarus and the NFL at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Plus, all of your favourite features from back in the day, like Smile, Stranger Things, and Statterface. But first, into the WSL. talkSPORT 2, it's just finished 1-0 to Chelsea against Tottenham Hotspur after this goal from Keira Walsh.
Keira Walsh, 25 yards out, takes aim! What a strike! Keira Walsh with a long-range stunner for Chelsea, picks out the bottom corner, and Tottenham's resistance is finally broken.
Chelsea remain 2 points ahead of Manchester United at the top of the table. Spurs are fourth at the moment. They drop a little bit because they have lost 3 points today. Elsewhere in the WSL, 12 p.m. kickoff so far. These are the full times. Manchester United have beat Everton by 4-1. Everton down into 10th and United up into 2nd, but Arsenal play a little bit later on. Aston Villa 0, Leicester City 0. London City Lionesses, another victory for them. They've beaten bottom of the lot West Ham United. London City now up to 5th in the WSL table. West Ham still bottom. No points from any of their 6 games. Really disappointing start to the season for them. 2:30 this afternoon. It is 6 against 7th as Arsenal host Brighton. Arsenal hoping to jump a couple of places in front of talkSPORT's Angelina Kelly.
Arsenal are in search of their first win in the last 5 games across all competitions after tasting defeat to Lyon in the Champions League this week. Meanwhile, Brighton will be looking to bounce back after 2 losses in a row. Both sides make 3 changes as Kate McCabe, Olivia Smith and Caitlin Ford are back in the Arsenal 11. For Brighton, 2 of their strongest attacking threats in Michelle Adjeman and Rosa Kafaji are out. Their Arsenal loanees, therefore, are ineligible to face their parent club. Kick-off is at 2:30. It's Arsenal versus Brighton.
Yeah, Arsenal seeking to recover from a string of disappointing results in all competitions. Brighton looking to regain a bit of form after back-to-back defeats. Wonder what's happened with Arsenal. We'll talk to Angelina throughout the course of the afternoon. At 4:45, today. It's second bottom Liverpool against third place Manchester City. Here's Steve Hoffesel.
Yeah, Manchester City on a hot streak, third in the table. Goals galore. In contrast, Liverpool can't buy a point. But this is Anfield, and Gareth Taylor, the new Reds boss, insists his team will click into gear soon. 4:45 the kickoff.
Big game at 5 o'clock today for Scotland. World Cup qualifier could be guaranteed a playoff place by the end of the day. They take on Belarus. Here's David Tanner.
And Sam, with just 33% possession, Scotland somehow managed to come from behind to beat Greece 3-1 here at Hampden Park on Thursday. So if they win today and the Greeks lose in Copenhagen, Scotland and Denmark would be guaranteed at worst a World Cup playoff spot. Something to dream about when Scotland take on Belarus. Kick-off at 5.
And at 2:30, the NFL is back at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and so is Brian T. Smith.
Hey, Sam. The New York Jets, the Jets, Jets are trying to get their first win of the season. They are the only winless team in the NFL. They're going to try to do it at Tottenham Hotspur today. But they're going up against one of the hottest teams in the NFL, the Denver Broncos. They beat the Kansas City Chiefs last weekend, and the Denver Broncos with Bo Nix are trying to become one of the best teams in the NFL. They'll try to do it today at Tottenham.
Harlequins, 2 defeats from 2, take on Saracens, 2 wins from 2 a little bit later on at the Stoop. That kicks off at 3 o'clock in the Gallagher Prem. In the ATP Shanghai Masters final, Valentin Vacherov from Monaco beat France's Arthur Rundeknecht 4-6, 6-3, 6-3, having already beaten Novak Djokovic in the semi-finals, while Coco Gauff beat Jessica Pegula in the All-American battle for the women's title 6-4, 7-5. You're up to date on the Sunday session from talkSPORT. And however you watch your telly, you can also watch talkSPORT from Samsung and LG TVs to Fire TVs, Chromecast, and talkSPORT is live on your screen if you've got an Apple TV as well as your speakers. Perry Groves is here. Hello.
Afternoon, Samuel. How are you feeling?
I'm fine. Absolutely fine.
Bit Mickey and
Absolutely
Griff?
fine. I'm a bit delirious, so if anything goes wrong, just blame the fact that I'm knackered. That's all I can say. That's all.
Did you get through it without walking?
Yeah, I got through it without walking, but it was tough, I must admit. The last bit was tough. And there's a geezer who met me right at the end, and he was a big talkSPORT listener, and he said to me, "Well done, you finished it, fantastic." I felt like death. I could hardly speak to him. And he was probably about 10 years older than me. The worst thing was when I was overtaken by the guy who was dressed as a rhino and was running for Save the Rhinos, and then the geezer in the inflatable chicken. That was just rubbing salt into the
I was going to say, I can top trump you. I did a 10K for Southampton on a Sunday when I was trying to improve my fitness, and I knew that I was finished, and I knew my time was up when the Pink Panther run past. But the Pink Panther didn't have trainers on. He actually had the Pink Panther massive feet, right? And then you think that's a sign from my high power going, leave it alone, guys. You're finished.
Someone's trying to tell you to give up. But listen, I did the half marathon. I know Max has mentioned it a couple of times already, and I know Ian Morris, who is outside, he's our editor on a Sunday. He's desperate for me not to mention the fact that I did the race earlier on. But I will say I was running for a very important charity, Orchid Cancer Charity.
Brilliant.
It raises money to look at male cancers. So I've had testicular cancer. There's colleagues that we've had in this building who have had different forms of male cancer. My brother had cancer earlier in the year, so I wanted to try and raise a little bit of money. And I didn't hit my target in terms of time, but we are hitting the target in terms of money raised, and I think that's probably more important than hitting the time. So look, if you want to go on my Instagram, it's at Sam Matterface. You can, if you've got even a bit of spare change and you want to donate to Orchid, then that would be great. It would be welcomed. Thank you very much. Right, should we talk about Rangers? Because there was a bit of an issue overnight. I came in here thinking yesterday when I was on my way down from Manchester that I was going to be talking about Steven Gerrard being the Rangers manager again, but that's not the case. He's pulled out of talks to become the new boss. He held face-to-face negotiations with the Scottish Giants to potentially replace Russell Martin. He's understood to have been doubtful that it's the correct time to take the job despite positive talks. It means now that it's likely they'll turn to ex-Sheffield Wednesday manager Danny Roll. He's held talks with the club, is now appearing to be a leading contender. I mean, what does this say about the football club? What does it say about Rangers and their status in the game that Steven Gerrard, who at the moment isn't employed, doesn't want to come back and take this job?
Do you know what? I think obviously there was a massive feel-good factor from Rangers fans, wasn't there, when they heard that Steven Gerrard, it looked like he was nailed on to come back, all reports during the week. He's probably gone there, and the stage of his managerial career, because he's got a fantastic legacy at Rangers, he probably thinks for him personally it's not a good time. I don't think it means it's not a good time to take over Rangers per se, because Rangers, we know, Sam, you've been up there, it's a massive, massive football club.
It's unbelievably huge.
Yeah, and you look where they are now, right? They're in 8th position, 8 points. They're 10 points off of Kilmarnock in 3rd. They're not going to catch Celtic and Hearts, let's be realistic. But on the other side of it, it is so bad at Rangers at the moment, with the dissent between like the fans and the owners, and Russell Martin created it between the fans and the players as well, that it is a good time to take over, because realistically, you can get them up to 3rd in the SPL, right? So you're not under any pressure, because you go in as a manager, you go, well, this isn't my team. From where I've taken home for it, it's an absolute debacle at the moment. If you look at Danny Roll, he's got when he went into Sheffield Wednesday, they were in relegation trouble when he went there, October 2023.
He did a brilliant job.
He did a great job. He kept them up. The following season, they came 12th, because we know all the problems that's going on outside of Sheffield Wednesday, with Chancery, with no investment at all.
I thought they might have a playoff push that season. I went to watch them on the opening day of last season. I thought they were really impressive. They beat Wayne Rooney's Plymouth by 4-0. I think ultimately that said more about Plymouth than it did about...
And they had Barry Bannon just controlling everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
Terrific. And I thought they might end up going for the playoffs, but it didn't quite work out. There's a few little issues there, and obviously we know what happened in the end.
Yeah, but so he's used to going into situations a little bit tempestuous. He's used to... But if you look at the players that Rangers have, right, they're nowhere near... They should be nowhere near where they are. Because Russell Martin went in there and his ego took over, and he had a certain way of playing. And when you knew that he was done and dusted. I think it was against St Mirren. They drew that game, and he came up afterwards and he questioned the players' commitment, and he questioned their attitude and desire. As soon as he did that publicly, Russell Martin was done. All the players looked at him and thought, actually, you're not backing us. You slaughter the players in the dressing rooms, right? If you're going to, then when you come out, you say, actually, we didn't start as quickly as what would you like, be on the front foot. I'll take responsibility because, I didn't set the players up right. Then the players buy into you and they think, oh, he's protecting us. So I actually think it's a good time to take over Rangers because the bar is so low.
OK, let's get some Rangers reaction to this. 03717 223344. Steven Gerrard is not going to be the new manager, but Danny Roll may well be. Is he a good fit for the club? What do they need? I mean, looking at the table and the way things stand right now, they've got, 8 points? Kilmarnock, as you mentioned, have got 10 points there in 3rd. And Rangers haven't won a home game in the SPL yet.
There you go.
I mean, look, if you just start putting home results on the board, you're going to motor up that table. The rest of the league isn't that great. You will be able to get up into those European places. 03717 223344. Whoever takes it, actually, are they in a win-win situation? Let us know what you think. You can text us as well. It's 81089. You can get involved via WhatsApp on the usual number, 03717 223344. Would you like to have a bit of fun?
Let's go. We're back. We're back on Sunday session.
It's time for this.
Sounds of the weekend.
This is a journey into sound.
On talkSPORT.
Are you sure we're allowed to do this, Ollie? I thought we were banned from doing this.
Well,
I thought we were.
Producer Ollie, he's our governor. We march to the beat of his drum. If he says it's all right, it's all right.
Listen,
we go for it.
Listen, okay, this is a little bit, naughty. That's maybe make the most of it. 81089 on the text. If you want to get involved, you can WhatsApp us 03717 223344. It's our Sounds of the Weekend. You know what to do. We give you 2 big sporting stories. You send in the tracks that fit beautifully. Our first sound, thanks to Erling Haaland. It's time for protein shakes to take a bit of a back seat. Haaland has revealed his secret weapon is a good old-fashioned Sunday roast. Yes, the Manchester City goal machine isn't just feasting on Premier League defences. He's also smashing down roast dinners with Yorkshire puddings like there's no tomorrow. Haaland, who's already bagged 18 goals this season, yes, that's 18 this season, reckons nothing beats a proper plate of meat, spuds and gravy. You can tell he's from Leeds, can't you? Cooked on a garden grill, no less. Unbelievable. Fulham's Sander Berger has his roast dinner every week as well. He's his partner in crime with roast dinner. Says the pair love to catch up over a mountain of food and a few laughs. 6 meals a day, he has. Goals for fun and Yorkshire puds on the side. That is the recipe for Haaland's success.
You know the way that things have changed, especially on the nutrition side?
Yeah.
That's their sin. They're saying that that's their naughty food, isn't it? That kind of when I was playing, that was you being healthy because you might have had a little bit of turkey and a few bits of veg. We all know that a roast dinner is judged by roast potatoes.
Oh, the roast potatoes.
Everybody knows it's got to be crispy on the outside, fluffy and soft on the inside.
Absolutely.
You know, a little cheat. I can't cook. I can't even boil an egg, right? But apparently, you put a little bit of oil, then you put a little bit of salt on before you bake them.
I like the fact that you can't do it, but you're giving everybody tips.
Well, it's just, say, just a little cheat code for you.
What songs you got for me for
I've
this?
got Food for 40, a little bit of UB40, a little bit of Reggie.
I like it.
Dog Eat Dog, Adam the Ants. My first ever concert I went to was Adam the Ants. I'm still deaf in my left ear because they had like 15 drummers. And Eat It, Weird Al Yankovic.
Yes, I remember that one. That's very 80s centric. Anything else? 81089 on the text. You can send us a WhatsApp 03717223344. Our second story is all thanks to the infamous Diego Costa, who has been up to his old tricks again. In a so-called friendly between Chelsea legends and Liverpool legends, the former bad boy of the bridge was chasing a pass from Eden Hazard when an old rival, Martin Skrtel, came crunching in from behind to win the ball. Now, most of us would have taken the tumble and got on with it. Oh, not Diego. He loves a little ruckus. Still on the deck, he boots out at Skrtel, studs up, catching the Liverpool hard man right in the upper leg. Yeah, and a little bit too close for comfort, if you know what I mean. And surprise, surprise, Skrtel wasn't best pleased. Up jumps Costa, squaring up like it's 2015 all over again. And yep, he goes it again. Straight in there, little butt forward. Referee pulls out a yellow card because, yes, apparently you can still get booked in a Legends match. I love Diego.
Yeah, but you can't. Adrenaline. You know, we said about adrenaline when you was doing your half marathon. It's exactly the same. Leppich doesn't change his spots. I've got Saturday Night's All Right for Fighting.
Good.
Elton John. Same old song. Rod Stewart.
Yeah.
And Pass Out by Tiny Temper.
Like it. 03717223344 if you want to get involved. There is a great picture in the Sun today of happy ending. In fact, Costa put it on his Instagram after the game. When they all went out afterwards, they got together. And if you are watching on your connected TV, you can see actually they got together and had a little cuddle, Skrtel and Costa, after the game.
What goes on the pitch stays on the pitch.
Absolutely, absolutely. Our first sounds of the weekend are coming up right now. Next, we'll be looking ahead to this afternoon's action in the NFL and the WSL. And Rangers fans, we want to hear from you. So where did the club go next? No Gerrard. So what or who is next through the door? 03717223344. Sounds of the weekend this weekend. Haaland loves a Sunday roast. Diego Costa is still chomping on defenders. Lionel Richie, easy like a Sunday morning for the Haaland story. Kelly in Birmingham. And this for Diego Costa. Do you remember that great story with Diego Costa? I mean, it wasn't great at the time, but it's great in retrospect. When he went AWOL from Chelsea, and one of the reporters went out to go and find him.
He went back to Brazil.
He went back to Brazil,
yeah.
And they found him in a boxing ring, and he was going 10 rounds with some bloke down the village or whatever. And then when he finished, he took his gloves off and pulled over a massive, great big crate of beer and just started working through it.
See,
just the kind of guy he was.
I'm stuck in the 80s. He'd have been perfect
he would have been perfect in the 80s. Absolutely perfect. Sam and Perry, talking of the Rangers job, wouldn't it be an ideal position for someone like Michael Carrick or Ruud van Nistelrooy to take over Rich in Newcastle? I think that is an interesting one, isn't it, for those sort of people that were maybe given an opportunity, didn't quite work out for Ruud at Leicester. I think Michael did a really good job at Middlesbrough, actually, under difficult circumstances at times. I think he deserves another crack at a big job, really, don't you?
Yeah, very much so. You can go there and you can rebuild your reputation. As I say, this season, Sam, is a free hit this season because it is so poor and because the atmosphere is so bad. The Rangers fans know they're not winning the SPL. Normally, sort of between Celtic and Rangers, they're completely out of that. They can still win like a cup competition. They can still, you said, get themselves into Europe. So there's a good platform to go in when you're at zero. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the only way basically for Rangers is on the upward trend. I think fans maybe would want a big name rather than Danny Rogers. They probably think that a big name could handle the dressing room a bit easier.
OK, Ollie, a Newcastle fan, is about to come and join us and talk us a little bit about Rangers. If you want to come on, 03717223344. The only way is up for Rangers. The only way is up for the New York Jets. Brian T. Smith is watching them today against the Denver Broncos at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Hi, Brian.
Hey, Sam, how's it going?
Yeah, very good, thank you. How's Denver's recent two-game winning streak, including their upset against the Eagles, transformed the team's confidence going into this game?
Yeah, I was speaking with Zach Allen, the defensive edge going into this week, and we had an exclusive for him at talkSPORT, at talkSPORT USA for our socials, and he was saying, obviously even the flight over here was better. So this is a very, very confident Denver Broncos team, and really this has been 2 years in the making for Sean Payton. Sean Payton, some NFL fans in London, the UK will know him. He won the Super Bowl with the New Orleans Saints. He's one of the best offensive minds in the NFL. He had to find the right quarterback. That is Bo Nix. Bo Nix is one of the best young quarterbacks in the NFL. They have one of the best defenses in the NFL. So you put all that together, and that's why Zach Allen was telling talkSPORT this team is so confident right now. They could win the AFC West this year. If they do that, they're automatically in the playoffs. That means they would be better than the Kansas City Chiefs. So this is a Denver team with a lot of talent, a lot of confidence. They cannot afford to lose to the Jets this weekend.
OK, we'll let you get on with the national anthems at Tottenham. We'll be back with you throughout the course of the afternoon. We need to find out a little bit what the problems are with the New York Jets, winless at the start of the season, the only winless team in the NFL. The whole game, by the way, once again live on talkSPORT 2 right now. If you want to download our app, you can flick between the two stations. You've got commentary on that game between the Denver Broncos and the New York Jets. Let's get to Angelina Kelly, who's watching Arsenal against Brighton. What's the latest?
Well, Arsenal are winless in their last 4 games and desperate for 3 points today. Manager Renee Slagers is actually getting her team to watch inspirational videos from Roger Federer in what she describes as a very honest and transparent week with her side. They make 3 changes from the team that lost 2-1 to Lyon in the Champions League on Tuesday night, as Kate McCabe, Caitlin Ford and £1 million signing Olivia Smith come in for Taylor Hines, Beth Mead and Chloe Kelly. Brighton also make 3 changes from their 1-0 loss to Tottenham last weekend. Former Chelsea and Lionesses star Fran Kirby, she returns to the starting 11. 2 of the expected changes are that Michelle Adjiman and Rosa Kafaji are not available. Their Arsenal loanees, therefore, are ineligible to face their parent club. And coming in for Adjiman is their new signing, former Real Madrid forward Carla Camacho. Kick-off is at 2:30. It's Arsenal versus Brighton.
Yeah, you got about a minute before you start there properly. Just talk to me about the atmosphere at the Emirates today. Is it a big crowd?
Yeah, I mean, from where I can see, the whole bottom tier is completely full pretty much, and the tier above that as well. We've just got North London Forever about to go through the speakers, but, you know, overall, it seems pretty confident. Renee Slagers has been talking before the game about fine margins as being the reason why they've dropped points recently, and believes that confidence is still within this squad. You know, Brighton also have some great players, but I think missing some of those key players in Adjuman and Kafaji might go against them today.
Yeah, Arsenal definitely need to get more points on the board at the start of the season. That game kicking off in the next few minutes. Angelina is there and she will keep us updated throughout the course of the afternoon. Let's go to Ollie, who's a Newcastle fan. He wants to talk about Rangers. Hello, mate.
Oh, yeah.
Hello, Ollie.
Rangers is my second team. I've been to a lot of games last season in particular, while being more north of Northumberland. And I wanted to say about the potential appointment of Danny Rowell.
Yes, go for it.
I mean, I'm not very keen at all. I would personally, because, you know, the last major success in my eyes was obviously Gerrard, with winning the title. Now, I personally would probably go down the route of Sean Dyche or Gary O'Neill or Graham Potter. That would be the three candidates that would stand out in particular. And I'll tell you why. Graham Potter would probably be the third favourite out of them three for me. Because I think the last two jobs haven't been as good as it should have been in terms of West Ham and Chelsea. Gary O'Neill, I think, was very unfairly sacked, to be fair, at Wolves. I think he did a really good job. He did a really good job at Bournemouth. His style of football is, on the front foot, playing out from the back, attacking football, which is exactly what we want to see. And I feel like Russell Martin was obviously a really bad appointment. His last job, he was sacked from Southampton. He got smashed 5-0 at home to Tottenham. So he wasn't really coming off a nice stint prior. So yeah, I think Danny Rowell is not a big enough name for Rangers at all.
Is that the sole reason, though, Ollie? Because we've just mentioned about how brilliant he was at Sheffield Wednesday, which is a massive club, and he had financial problems there, didn't he? So he was a bit hamstrung. So all the managers with Graham Potter, do you think he's got a big enough personality and character to handle a club the size of Rangers?
Because you need to be able to handle yourself. If you're going to go into that job, you need to be able to handle the media, you need to be able to handle the fans, you need to be able to handle the intense atmosphere that comes around.
Expectations.
3 times at least a season when you're playing in those big old firm games. Yeah. You've got to have a serious presence to be able to deal with that. Has he got that?
That's why I said Potter would be at number 3, because I think he couldn't handle the stick at Chelsea. It crumbled him a bit. So that's why I would lead to a big, strong character that had 40,000 giving him stick, and Sean Dyche when he was at Everton. I'd probably go down Sean Dyche or Gary O'Neill. I think Gary O'Neill handled the job at Wolves really well. He did well at Bournemouth, but I'm not as big a club as Rangers. I think Dyche has the experience at Everton. He had 10 years at Burnley where he transformed the club. I think it'd be between Sean Dyche and Gary O'Neill. I'm quite surprised Gary O'Neill hasn't really been amongst the names, because I think he totally fits the criteria for Rangers. But I think personally, Sean Dyche or Gary O'Neill would be the two major names. I think Sean Dyche would be able to handle the atmosphere, the games at Ibrox and Celtic Park a lot better. And I also believe that he hasn't been given an opportunity where he can actually do something significant. I think Everton was quite a rotten club. They hated the owners. They're still
it was given a tough hand there, wasn't he? The only problem I think with this idea is I think Sean has already decided that he's not going to take that job, which is a bit of an issue for Rangers. I mean, it may well now come round again, and there might be different circumstances, but certainly our understanding last week was that he wasn't going to take that job. I think they missed a massive trick maybe 18 months ago, 2 years ago, when they appointed Philippe Clement instead of bringing in Frank Lampard. If you look at, maybe Frank did need a little bit of distance from his previous job.
You mentioned him. I mean, Frank gets a little bit everywhere.
Look how good he's done at Coventry.
He has done. Again, that's where you rebuild your reputation, and he's proven that He can go into Coventry.
But he wanted the job.
Yes.
He was up
desire.
there. He was saying, I want to be in there. I want to be working. And like Graham Souness, you speak to Graham Souness, he was in part of the interview panel. He was like, we've got to give this guy the job. He doesn't need the job, but he wants to do it that badly that we should, like, get behind him and give him the keys to the tiller. But they didn't. They went to Philippe Clement. Did all right. And then, obviously, they changed it again. And now they've got to change it again. It feels to me like they missed the trick there. 03717223344. The Sean Dyche thing is really interesting, though, because more reports today that he's the favourite to take over at Nottingham Forest, where he started out as a trainee, if there is a change at the top there. We'll talk about that next. This is talkSPORT. Hey, very good afternoon to you. This is talkSPORT. It's a Sunday session. By the way, Jim and Simon tomorrow have Paul Gascoigne on the programme, 10 till 1 tomorrow. Make sure you tune in. It's always a brilliant show. It's going to be even better tomorrow. Chelsea won, Tottenham 0 in the WSL from the midday kickoffs earlier on today. That was live on talkSPORT 2, and Chelsea top of the table after an absolute stunner from Kira Walsh. Everton 1, Manchester United 4, Aston Villa 0, Leicester City 0, London City Lionesses 1, West Ham United 1, London City up to 5th in the table as a result of that victory. Arsenal currently 0-0 with Brighton. They just kicked off at 2:30. Liverpool against Manchester City is underway at 4:45 this afternoon. We've got Scotland, Belarus from 5 o'clock, and we've got David Tanner watching for us. And the Denver Broncos and the New York Jets have just started, and I think that's a field goal for the New York Jets. They kick through the post. They're 3 points up in the first drive of the game. Back to Brian T. Smith very shortly. Harlequins Saracens kicks off at 3. Harlequins 2 defeats from 2, and Saracens 2 wins from 2 so far. 0371 722 3344. We're talking Sean Dyche, because as our caller mentioned just now, be a great appointment for Rangers. I don't think that's going to happen, but he has been considered as possibly the front runner for Nottingham Forest if Ange is sacked. I suppose the big question is how likely is it that Ange is going to be sacked at Nottingham Forest? Their next game live on talkSPORT on Saturday against Chelsea seems to be a huge one for him, but he's only had 40 days in charge, Perry.
7 games, 2 draws, 5 losses. Even I can work out his win percentage. That's not difficult, is it? It's like 0% win percentage, right? So he's probably going down at the moment as one of the worst Nottingham Forest managers there's been for the last 100 years. And it was, we spoke about it before, Sam, it was a ridiculous appointment anyway from Marinakis, because he went on 95 minutes of football for Postecoglou, obviously when they beat Man United in the Europa League, because Spurs, they come 17th last season. They lost 22 games. So he would have gone down. Postecoglou was one of the worst Spurs managers. Now he's gone up there with, one of the best because he won him a trophy. But you can't appoint a manager on 100 minutes of football against one of the worst Man United teams we've seen for the last 50, 60 years. And it was so polar opposite. And you were surprised that I knew who Zach Polanski was when I said it was like the Reform Party getting rid of, the Green Party getting rid of Zach Polanski and then bringing in Nigel Farage. It was so far apart from the styles that the managers play.
So Nuno's style is so different to Ange.
Yeah, because
you think the gear change is too severe?
For the players, you get stuck in between, because under Nuno, obviously, it was we'll be very tight defensively, even if they were a 4-2-3-1 or 5 at the back. 2 mid-hold midfield players, they protected the back 4. The wingers got back, protected the back 4 or back 5. And Postecoglou then wants to go and press from the front. And from the outside, you think, the players are going to enjoy that more. You know what I mean? Because they're actually being more proactive. What it does, it makes you feel a little bit more vulnerable. And you can tell that they haven't bought into his ideas at all. And you said, next game is Chelsea at home to 12:30 kickoff. Nottingham Forest ain't winning that.
Well, you don't know.
I know Chelsea young, but the thing is, it's feast and famine with Chelsea with a young team. You don't know, how they're going to be in the game from times in games. But
he would have had time to work with them in the international break. For those who remained behind as well, some he won't have had the opportunity to work with because they've gone off to their international teams. But he will have had an opportunity to work with some of them. And you kind of think he probably does need a bit of time, because since he came in, he's trying to employ a different strategy, and all he's had is game. Couple of days, game, couple of days, game, couple of days. It's been relentless so far, the schedule. So he just probably needed a bit of time to get his feet under the table.
He hadn't had a pre. Every manager says they need a pre-season. You have that, apart from Amorim, because it don't work for him, you have the pre-season, but you need that sort of 6 to 7 weeks to implement your ideas. But even then, the easiest thing to do with a team is to structure them so that you're good defensively. The easiest thing to coach is to destroy rather than create.
But that's not his game.
That's not his exactly.
But if you bring him in, you know that. So is actually the burden of responsibility on the shoulders of the owner
and Marinakis
rather than Ange Postecoglou.
100%. But then he's got to look at it. So you think your mob go there and beat them at the City Ground, right? Do you think he's going to survive that? If he doesn't win that game, then he's gone, because Marinakis will be looking at, if you've meant about Sean Dyche, he hasn't got to go on Zoopla, has he, Sean Dyche, because he lives in Nottingham, so he's fine. You've got 2 of his coaching staff, Ian Woan and Steve Stone, both ex-Nottingham Forest players. They know the club inside out. So if you wanted a manager to go in and settle it down, Sean Dyche is perfect, because his style of play is very similar to Nuno's.
Would it be a show of strength for Marinakis to admit that he's actually made a mistake and pivot back to the style of football that he wanted to move away from with Nuno Espirito Santo? Because this is the real issue here, is that Marinakis wants them to be a more progressive football team.
Because he saw, obviously, Postecoglou won the Europa League with Spurs, and he saw them on the front foot. But then if you're going to do that, be brave enough and do it in the summer. Because he's been in football, he's Olympiacos owner as well. Marinakis has been in football long enough to know that managers need time to implement their ideas and their philosophies onto the players. So when Nuno come out and did his press conference, it was before the Crystal Palace game. I was obviously doing it for talkSPORT, and Nuno said about the consternation that's going on behind the scenes. It's not, all like sort of level. He knew what was going on. He would have known that they were looking at other managers back then, because there's no need for Nuno to mention anything like that. He's the one who brought that subject up, didn't he? And he made it loads more turmoil. So Marinakis has got obviously an ego. So it's whether he's going to be brave enough to say, people at that level very rarely say that they're wrong. They very rarely say that I've made a mistake. So he has to be brave enough. Be interested in Nottingham Forest
do you think
fans.
he should be replaced?
I think he personally should, yes. Because
do you not think he should be given a little bit more time to see if he can get his methods
The reason being
across?
is, I said I thought he was out of his depth at Spurs because he had one way of playing, and he did sort of temper it a little bit in the final.
He won them the Europa League.
Exactly. But that's...
And he did it by changing his philosophy.
He did. He tweaked it, didn't he?
I was in Frankfurt with him, and I was in Bodo, and I followed them across Europe last year. He changed his tactics to get the job done. The job was the Europa League. What they couldn't handle... They couldn't handle the twin commitments of the Premier League and the Europa League. He says he
prioritised.
He said he put all his eggs in the basket from very early on. I'm not sure that was entirely the case. I think maybe last 3 months of the season that was possibly true, but not as early back as he was suggesting. They had terrible injury issues. There is mitigating circumstances. I don't think you can ever say that he is blameless if you lose 22 Premier League games over the course of the season. I agree with that. But if you decide that you want to hire him, surely you've got to give him every single chance that he's going to succeed before you decide, actually, we're going to move on to somebody else. Yeah, anyway, we'll come back to it in just a second because there's been a goal at the Emirates Stadium, and it's the opener for Arsenal. Angelina Kelly.
It's Arsenal 1, Brighton 0, and the goal for Olivia Smith. It had been coming. She's already sent 2 really powerful shots over the crossbar and wide of the near post. She's proving why she's a £1 million player, and she slotted the ball into the far corner of the net. But Arsenal, they've been knocking at the door so much. They've had so many chances, and they are deserving of the lead. Arsenal 1, Brighton 0.
Got a little bit lucky there, didn't she? Because I think it takes a little deflection, which wrong foots the goalkeeper and sends it into the corner. Arsenal leading by a goal to 0 either way.
Yeah, I think Olivia Smith, as you said there, she's on the right-hand side of the penalty box. I think she's trying to cross it because Brighton have got themselves exposed 3v3. You don't want to be doing that at the Emirates against Arsenal. And she tried to cross it. Deflection, you said, at near post. That'll probably go down as an own goal, I would have thought. Yeah,
I think eventually it will do. But boy, has she made an impact in this Arsenal team. Olivia Smith, bought for £1 million. Scored a brilliant goal on the opening weekend of the season. They want to see more from her, obviously. And she's created the opener today. They lead by a goal to 0. Let's get to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. The New York Jets were up the last time we mentioned it. What's the latest now, Brian T. Smith?
Yeah, Sam, they are still up. This has been a frustrating and disappointing start for the Denver Broncos, who entered as one of the hottest teams in the NFL. Bo Nix does have the Broncos at midfield, but they're going to have to punt right now or try maybe a long field goal. But a Broncos fumble and a Jets field goal has the Jets up 3-0. Early first quarter. The Broncos are facing 4th and 39, and they are going to try for a long field goal right here.
Thank you very much. That's Brian T. Smith at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. We'll bring the result of that field goal in just a second. Look, I'll be completely honest. I'm playing devil's advocate with the Ange stuff. I do think if most Forest fans that I speak to tell me that actually we need to just put our hands up and say we've made a mistake here and revert to type, I think they would be quite positive if Sean Dyche came in. Do you think that?
I think so because of his style of play. Everton, he was handcuffed, wasn't he, because of all the stuff that's going off the pitch and the financial restraints that he had. The only thing, when Nuno Espirito Santo got sacked, Nottingham Forest fans Forest fans hadn't turned, did they? They loved the fact that he was.
But they didn't like the fact that he called out the owner. They weren't happy about that initially.
They weren't happy about it, but there's stuff that goes on behind the scenes, and he knew that he was on his way because he, as I said, he wouldn't have flagged it up.
I don't think any of them handled it very well. I don't think the Forest handled it well, and I don't think Nuno handled it particularly well.
No, but it was premeditated from Nuno. He knew because he knew he was going. So he thought, what I'll do is I'll put it out there that things aren't going very well between me and the owner, and then when I do get the sack, I can say, I told you so. So he's one of the very few managers when you get the sack that his stock was still very high. That very rarely happens. So he's just looking at it, think, right, okay, I'll get another job, which he's got at West Ham. I think the players would want a little bit more structure. I think they would want more defensive structure. And even if you look at the offensive style that he plays, He's not getting the best out of Morgan Gibbs-White. He's not giving the best. Chris Woods, who's scoring bonus goals last season, isn't scoring this season.
Nope.
So if he's attacking players, he's not getting the best out of. So
remember at the end of last season, it did go awry a little bit as well. It wasn't like he had a brilliant end to the season, Nuno Espirito Santo. They started to fall away towards the end of the campaign.
It was the Leicester game when they drew 2-2, wasn't it? And again, that's when Marinakis come on the pitch. And I think that's where it all started from there, where he felt that he was being belittled a little bit by the owner coming on. So that's where I think it festered. And obviously that wound has got more infected, and we are where we are now. Sam, there's no way, if they get beat by Chelsea on that game next Saturday, there's no way that he keeps his job. Absolutely no chance.
Talking of infected wounds, I think I've got a few of those from this
blisters.
Got a few? Got any cream?
Got a few blisters. Just put them in Surgical Spirit. That'll sort you out.
Next on the Sunday session. We'll take more of your tunes. Bradley from South London, Eye of the Tiger, Survivor. For Diego Costa squaring up to Martin Skirtle. We're also doing the fact that Erling Haaland has 6 meals a day and his favourite is smashing a roast dinner. We'll get you smiling as well next, so stick around. This is the Sunday session on talkSPORT. Seven Nation Army, the White Stripes for Diego Costa. Ian in Hereford. This is Jojo Siwa by Jojo Siwa. It's Guilty Pleasure, Haaland Story. Molly from Norwich, thank you very much for getting in touch. 81089 on the text. You can get involved via WhatsApp 03717 2233 Our sounds of the weekend this weekend. Haaland loves a Sunday roast, and Diego Costa is still fighting defenders, even at the age of, what is he, 63 or something like that? I don't know. Right, it's time for this.
When you're smiling, the whole world, it smiles with you.
And we start the smiles this week with what could be the feel-good story of next year's World Cup, as Cape Verde are very close to making footballing history. The Blue Sharks were circling their World Cup dream on Wednesday night, but it wasn't all smooth sailing. Down 3-1 away at Libya's 11th of June stadium, they mounted a jaw-dropping comeback to snatch a famous 3-3 draw. That gutsy performance means they're still top of Group D in the CAF qualifiers with 20 points from 9 games. So close yet so far. Now, had they clinched a win, they'd already be booking flights to the World Cup. But hold the champagne, there's still one more hurdle to leap. A clash with Eswatini this coming Monday. If they get the job done, Cape Verde would become the second smallest nation ever to reach football's biggest stage. With just over 500,000 people back home in the Atlantic Islands, the whole country will be dreaming. And to be honest with you, it's a great story.
What was that other team they got to play against again?
Eswatini.
Eswatini. Can you imagine if they qualify?
You know where Eswatini is, and I'm usually pretty good on the old geography.
Imagine if they qualify, the length of the list that countries want to be playing like a pre-World Cup friendly over in Cape Verde.
I think we'll put our hand up for that.
You'll be all right there, wouldn't you? Over now to...
Eswatini is in between South Africa. Oh, it's right down in the bottom right-hand corner. Yeah, in between South Africa and... Is that Mozambique? Yeah, it is. Wow, I didn't know that. So I've never heard of Eswatini before.
Every day's a school day. So you'll be locked into that now, won't you? You're doing research.
They're bottom of the group, Eswatini. I reckon Cape Verde are going to do them.
They're
going to make it.
They're done. Over now to Manchester United, and more specifically, Benjamin Sesko. The 22-year-old Slovenian striker opened his Old Trafford account with a tidy finish to seal their win over Sunderland. But it wasn't just the goal getting people talking. It was what happened next. During his trademark leaping celebration, Sesko clocked a fan in the Stretford end, absolutely losing his mind with joy, and it stuck with him. Sesko since has asked the club to help track down the guy so they can personally thank him for sharing the magic. United even put out a statement saying their new number 30 wants to show his gratitude for what he called an unbelievable moment. So if you're that United fan listening to this, by the way, stick by the phone or get in contact with Manchester United. There's a certain 6'5" Slovene who wants to see you. A little corporate, do you think, little one of his guests, Sesko's guests in his box?
Yeah, it might be next time, yeah. If he's got a box there, yeah.
See, that is unbridled passion and joy, which you cannot help. That's what football's about.
Joy.
They're the moments.
Let's go to his former team. It's not his former team. Let's go to former commentary skipper Carl Baker, who has swapped crunching tackles for blowing the whistle. And it saved his life. After retiring in 2023, the ex-MK Dons and Portsmouth midfielder fell into a bit of a dark place. He was struggling with depression and lack of purpose. Golf and downtime weren't really cutting it. Even caddying at the US Open didn't fill the void. But joining the PGMO's player-to-referee scheme has turned everything around for him. Now Baker's officiated over 40 games and says it's given him a new lease of life. A whole new respect for referees. He said it was life-changing. And from captain to middleman, he believes that this proves that there is life after playing days. So he's done that referee course that the players are being encouraged to take up in the lower leagues.
We've always said there should be a fast track if players from like League One, League Two, even the Championship, you want to have that pathway, stay in the game. There was only one referee I remember playing. It was a referee called Steve Baines, who used to play centre half for Chesterfield.
Right.
And used to referee games when I was in 4th Division, 3rd Division, and he was brilliant. Because he was allowed to manage the game. Obviously, he knew all the rules, but he knew all the players' little tricks and, like the little sly stuff that they did. And he used to swear at you and tell you to basically do one. But he had instant respect from the players because he knew how they were thinking. Do you know what I mean? So that's a brilliant story for Baker. And finally, this is one we absolutely love to see. A proper footballing legend getting the recognition he deserves. Mark Walters, the former England winner who lit it up for Villa, Rangers and Liverpool, has finally received his legacy cap at Wembley, more than 30 years after his one and only senior appearance for the Three Lions. Better late than never. The 61-year-old rocked up at the home of football with his son, Dr. Marlon Walters, to collect the honour, celebrating a career that saw him represent England at every professional level. Social media was buzzing with fans calling him a trailblazer and one of the most underrated players of his era. Top man, Mark, and fully deserves. I played randomly a charity game with Wally in Jakarta in Indonesia after the tsunami. Yeah, they raised money for the people over there. And when I was in my drinking days, Steve Whittam was playing. We was at Heathrow Airport. It's 6:30 in the morning. And me and Whit were at the bar before we got in on the plane. Right? So Wally comes in and he goes, "What are you two doing? It's ridiculous at the bar at 6:30 in the morning. Have a word with yourselves." And we went, "Well, it's a free bar." He went, "Oh yeah, I'll tell you what, they'll have a Stella, thanks." He was straight into it. A real top man.
They used to call him Mark McWalters when he was up at Rangers. Yeah,
you know the old-fashioned winger where you give it to him and he goes, "Don't overlap me, don't go on the underlap, I want to go 1v1.
Yeah, the other thing is I just should say about the FA legacy caps thing, they're giving it to everybody who has a cap already, and it's about giving them their legacy number, and they're getting through over 1,000 players, so it is going to take them time. So I don't think he was delayed in getting his cap. He's actually got one ahead of Righty hasn't got his yet, Dicko hasn't got his yet, so they're still getting through quite a lot of players, and they try to do it every international break. Every time there's a game at Wembley, they try to hand out a certain number of these legacy caps. It's about keeping the former players involved as well in the England setup. Arsenal-Brighton, Angelina Kelly, any sign of a fight back from Fran Kirby and the Brighton team?
You know what? There has. I mean, of course, it was Olivia Smith that gave Arsenal a deserved lead with a low cross-come shot from 12 yards out from the right-hand side into the far corner. It did take a deflection and for now will be going down as her goal. But Brighton have really sprung into action. There was a great curling shot towards the goal from Fran Kirby, which unfortunately went straight to Arsenal goalkeeper Daphne Van Domsela's hands. And Kiko Sieke, she tried to convert a cross that came across the face of goal, but collided with Katie McCabe, Van Domsela and the post, unfortunately. But yeah, Brighton have been looking good since they went a goal down. Arsenal 1, Brighton 0.
And let's get off to Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, where the kickers are on top, Brian T. Smith.
Yeah, this is a soccer game at an NFL game, Sam. I'm not seeing a start like this in a long time. Justin Fields, the quarterback for the New York Jets, has thrown one pass for -1 yards. The Broncos have a fumble. The Broncos offense is moving all over the field, but they can't score the ball. It's 6-3 New York Jets with 2:25 left in the first quarter. So the Broncos are completely outplaying the Jets. However, they trail 6-3 because of the turnover and some timely possessions by the New York Jets.
Cheers, Brian. Thank you very much. Next on the Sunday session. Yeah, bit of Elton John and Saturday Night's all right for fighting. The Costa story, obviously. Aaron, the Manchester United fan, thank you very much for your text. Keep your text coming if you've got anything for Erling Haaland, who loves to smash a roast dinner, or for Diego Costa, who still loves to smash a defender, even in a Legends game. 03717 223344, and we'll be looking back on England's win against Wales on Thursday next, and those comments from Thomas Tuchel. Stick around.
a merger between Corinthians FC and Casuals FC. Now, Corinthians FC were founded in the late 1800s when the FA's top brass were sick of getting pumped by Scotland every time they played them. As a result, a man called Nicholas Lane Jackson set up an amateur side which would bring in the best players who could all play for the national side. And it worked. It wasn't long before England were dominating the international fixtures they played, and it was largely down to Corinthians. In fact, in 1894 and 1895, they played consecutive games where Corinthians provided the entire England 11. But the thing is, the players refused to play professional football. They didn't believe in it. They wanted to spread the values of sportsmanship, competition, and played for the love of the game. It also helped that most of the players were Oxbridge graduates who didn't need the money. But instead of entering the league and cup competitions, they played exhibition football and toured the world, bringing the beautiful game with them. And it was this which spread the game throughout the world and made it so popular. Most famously, in 1910, they travelled to Brazil. And the locals in Sao Paulo were so impressed, they started their own team under the same name. Yes, the same Corinthians who won the FIFA Club World Cup in 2021, one of the biggest football teams in Brazil. Now, they were global superstars, and despite not being professional, Corinthians drew in the crowds. Everybody wanted to play them, everybody wanted to watch them. So much so, they regularly played the winners of the FA Cup in what eventually became the Community Shield, winning most of the time. They actually inflicted Manchester United's worst defeat, 11-3, a record which still stands to this day. Now, fast forward to today, Corinthian Casuals still don't pay their staff or players. The ethos of sportsmanship is still at the heart of everything that they do. And even though they're a side in the lower leagues, if you make the trip to King George's Field in Tolworth just off the A3,
here.
Oh, and he's found the net! What a run and what a goal!
There.
He hits it first time, what a volley, what a goal!
On Sundays.
Oh, what a goal!
We are everywhere. On DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM. Strap yourself in. It's Destination Football. The Sunday Session on talkSPORT.
Yes, you're listening to the Sunday Session with me, Sam Matterface, and the former Arsenal winger Perry Groves. In the WSL earlier on today, Chelsea went top of the pile. They're there by a point thanks to beating Tottenham by a goal to nil. Manchester United 4-1 winners away at Everton. Aston Villa 0-0 with Leicester City. London City Lionesses up to 5th after another victory. Aslani with the only goal. West Ham United defeated once again at bottom of the lot. And they're into the final 10 minutes of the first half at the Emirates. And here's talkSPORT's Angelina Kelly.
Arsenal 1, Brighton 0. Arsenal take the lead, and they deserve it with a goal from Olivia Smith, which was a low cross-come shot from 12 yards out on the right-hand side. It did take a deflection, but it's going down as her goal for now. And since then, Brighton have sprung into action. They've had quite a few chances from likes of Frank Kirby and Kiko Sieki. Arsenal 1, Brighton 0.
And Chelsea's lead at the top of the table is actually 2 points. An Arsenal victory today will take them up to 14 points, and they will be level with Manchester United should they end up winning that game today. As far as Liverpool are concerned, Manchester City are their visitors at Anfield at 4:45. Steve Hovelsall is watching.
Yes, the Liverpool boss Gareth Taylor goes up against the club that sacked him just months ago, and the odds are heavily stacked in Man City's favour. They've scored 14 in their last 4 games. Liverpool have no points so far. Team news due in 45 minutes.
That at 5 o'clock. Scotland's World Cup qualification campaign continues. It's a big night for David Tanner.
And it's a big night for Steve Clarke too, who becomes the longest serving Scotland manager. It's his 72nd game in charge, breaking the record he currently shares with Craig Brown. No Scotland boss has led the country to 3 major finals, a win today, and he'll be tantalisingly close to leading the Tartan Army across the Atlantic next year. Scotland against Belarus kicks off at 5.
It could be an unbelievable day for them. What's the latest in the NFL? Brian T. Smith is watching.
Bo Nix has pushed the Denver Broncos, Sam, into the end zone. He has been absolutely electric. While Justin Fields, the Jets QB, can barely throw the ball, Bo Nix has started 11 of 13 passes, 101 yards, touchdown, 124 rating, basically perfect The Broncos lead the Jets 10-6 at the start of the second quarter, live from Tottenham.
Live over on talkSPORT 2, by the way. If you want to download our app, you can listen to the commentary of that particular game. The New York Jets winless so far in the NFL. In the Gallagher Prem, also Harlequins winless, and they're pointless against Saracens after 10 minutes of the game at the Stoop. Saracens have started with a 100% record. It is only the third weekend of the campaign. ATP Shanghai Masters Finals. Valentin Vacherot from Monaco beat France's Arthur Rinderknecht 4-6, 6-3, 6-3, having already beaten Novak Djokovic in the semi-finals. Coco Gauff claimed the women's title, beating Jessica Pegula in an all-American battle 6-4. 6-7-5. That's the Sunday session, keeping you up to date with all the scores and all of the action throughout the sporting universe, and it's only on talkSPORT. And remember, you can watch talkSPORT now if you have a telly or you've got a mobile phone. The app is available to you. It carries all of the great shows that we do, from Samsungs to LG TVs to Fire TV to Chromecast, Apple TV. talkSPORT live on your screen. Just download the app. And it's on your screen as well as your speakers, which is good news. England beat Wales 3-0 on Thursday night, but Thomas Tuchel wasn't happy afterwards with the fans. It was a fast start with goals from Morgan Rogers inside the first 3 minutes. Then Ollie Watkins and Bukayo Saka saw the Three Lions lead by 3-0 before the 20-minute mark. The rest of the game played at a little bit of a slower pace, with Wales improving after their poor start. After the match, the England manager had this to say about the atmosphere.
Your first question after that? Okay. Good moment to explain myself. Well, first of all, I said the support in Serbia was absolutely fantastic. When we played last time in Serbia, I said it and I meant it. I love English football and I love English football fans and the support they give. But I think today the atmosphere did not match the performance on the field.
I've made this point, I think, a couple of times to you and on Premier League All Access podcast that we do here on talkSPORT every week. And I've spent a bit of time with him, and he loves the Premier League. He literally is obsessed with English football, the passion behind it. He cited to me the reason he wanted to take the job was because he watched Euro 2020, which was played in 2021 when he was the Chelsea manager, and he couldn't believe how everybody got behind the England team. He thought the atmosphere at the stadiums was second to none during that tournament. And he said, I want to be a part of that one day. And I think he felt as if when he became the England manager, that is what he was going to get when he walked into the stadiums. And he's learnt very quickly that the Premier League atmosphere is very different to the international atmosphere. And there's a whole range of reasons why that is the case. I think he's absolutely right. The away support that England have is second to none. Actually, the home support is second to none. Because if you glance over every single international game that has taken place in Europe over this weekend, I bet you there isn't one game that has 78,000 people attending it. England regularly sell out Wembley for games that really everybody knows they're going to win.
Just meaningless qualifying games as well, let's be honest. Not just for friendlies, but just for games that you know that England are going to win.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter where it is, doesn't matter if it's Wembley, doesn't matter if they take it around the country. We spoke about this, Sam, right? This actually took my breath away a bit because this was premeditated. It wasn't a reporter asking him a question about the atmosphere. He couldn't have got away with his emotions because the game had no jeopardy in it after 20 minutes. So it wasn't an emotional reaction. You know, when some managers, you get them in heat in the moment, you think, oh, I've got a great clip there because they've just lost their head a bit. He should know, he's a football man, right? The game was done and dusted after 20 minutes, right? So therefore, the fans aren't going to be as excited because the drama and the jeopardy of the game itself has gone, has finished completely. Even the players...
But he knows that, right? He's an intelligent guy.
But why mention it?
Well, because I think he's pretty clear that he wants everyone, you, me, every supporter, every player, everybody who's part of the coaching staff, everybody who's part of the support staff, to up the ante, to raise the game just a little bit every time. We're always going to try and push the envelope to try and push everybody up a few notches in order to push this team towards World Cup glory. That requires everybody getting behind the horse and everybody doing their bit to ensure that it goes in the right direction.
Yeah, but what he's done by that statement, you have a real danger of alienating some fans. And we know, Sam, there's certain parts of the media and certain, like quite a few fans who think that you shouldn't have a German managing England. Now, I've said to you, I don't care if it's a Martian. It doesn't bother me. If it's the right person for the job and we're going to win the World Cup, I'm not bothered, because you have to have someone who's elite. Thomas Tuchel is an elite manager, right?
And he's doing a good job, right?
But, yeah, he is doing a good job. But what he does is, by saying this, he can then just, like, expand that narrative. And he didn't need to say it. He didn't need to come out with anything, because getting everybody to buy in to England winning the World Cup, right? Trust me, when the World Cup comes along, right, everybody in the country will be behind England.
But he doesn't want to do it in 6 months' time. He wants it now.
No, but
he wants everyone behind it now.
But
he
they
wants
are.
that feeling that everybody is behind this team.
But they are.
And everybody in the stadium is going to push them on no matter
Sam,
what the situation
but they are. Even the levels dropped from the
But
supporters.
why is it wrong that he wants that?
No, because I don't think there's any need to come out and say it after your team's just beaten
Well,
one
he's
of your
obviously
rivals.
thought about it. He thinks that there
yes,
is,
but
isn't he?
there's no positive. There's no positive that come from it, because there was no need to. You just won 3-0 against Wales, right? And Craig Bellamy gets away one, by the way, because his tactics were ridiculous, because he wanted to go and take. It's like asking Stevenage against Liverpool at Anfield in the FA Cup final and going to Stevenage, go and press them, let's take them on. And the players are thinking, no, we can't do that. We're not as good as what they are. You can leave us exposed. So that was down to him. The game dropped. The players dropped.
The tempo dropped. I said it to Dicko after about 6 minutes of the second half. The last thing they want is for the tempo to drop, and he went, it's already happened.
Yeah, because the players know they've won the game. They don't want to get injured. You save yourself. And I know that players are coming on. I thought Jared Bowen did look really live when he came on, actually, right?
Really well.
So those players that are coming on have something to prove. But other than that, the game's finished. So there was no need for him to flag up any negativity at all. It should have been really pleased the way that we started. Our players' attitude great. You was at the game. I was watching it, obviously, on TV. Moved the ball very quickly. Yep. 1 and 2 top passing was excellent. And because Wales closed down, it was Johnson, Wilson and Brooks behind more. They didn't have the conviction of the closing down, so there was too many gaps between them and the midfield and their back four. So there was no need for any negativity to come out of that game and that performance.
I don't think it's necessarily negative, though. He's just trying to get everybody on board.
Well, no,
maybe he didn't say it in the right way.
No, but he can't, by the way, he can't keep go past, no, it's my second language. He's got lost in translation. The only thing, do you think any good can come out of that?
If everybody then turns up the atmosphere when it gets to Serbia next time around, you've got to remember, he thought probably the next game that England play at home was going to be against Serbia, and it was going to be a pivotal game. They had to get something from it. And if they got something from it, they went to the World Cup. And he thought that the next time everyone got together, the atmosphere probably needed to be much better than it was on that day in order to push England over the line, because he thought it might be a tight game. Now, as it turns out, Serbia are that bad that they've lost to Albania this weekend, and Latvia are that bad that they've drawn with Andorra. So if England win on Tuesday night, they go through the World Cup anyway.
But
he didn't know that before.
Also, but the atmosphere still...
He was anticipating a different set of circumstances the next time we all got together.
But there's no tension. Tension creates atmosphere in football stadiums. You know, as I said about...
Yeah, but there might be next time, and he's trying to get in front of it.
No, but it's not now, because the World Cup qualification is done. They're all going to be friendlies. Friendlies have a different atmosphere anyway. A lot of England fans go to the games because they need to get their caps, right? And he mentioned about the away fans. You went to Serbia. The away fans were unbelievable, right?
Brilliant.
So it's going to be the away fans, the majority of them that go to the World Cup. Well, obviously, it's in Mexico, Canada and USA, right? So he knows full well that the England fans that travel are going to be so engaged in this England team because...
They were in Germany. They were brilliant in Germany.
Exactly, but they generally believe with this group of players that England have a chance of winning the World Cup. So then that brings up the atmosphere and the excitement. There's no excitement watching England play now. We're going to try and,
Well, you might be. You don't know.
The only is players, we'll talk about it after the break, but positions, that are in jeopardy.
We'll come back to that in just a second. Let's concentrate on the atmosphere. If you've got any views on what Thomas Tuchel said, 03717223344. I thought it was quite interesting, actually, that the FSA came out and said, you know what? Maybe we should take these games around the country a little bit more and not concentrate on getting to Wembley. I've got a couple of views on that.
Money.
I don't think you can have it all. I don't think you could have the revenue generation. You can have the cheap tickets for the kids to be able to go, which we all want, by the way, because we want kids to be able to go and watch football. You can't have the loyalty point situation. You can't have everything. The great atmosphere. You can't have everything. You have to sacrifice something, and maybe the atmosphere has been sacrificed a little bit. Maybe Wembley could do a bit more just to up the ante. I don't know. But look, I think the main theme of the conversation is everyone just get behind the team.
They are.
I'm not saying they're not. I'm just saying that's what we're doing. We want to just move in the right direction.
Yeah, but don't be
positive.
Yeah, but even with Thomas Tuchel, if you was his PA or the FA's PA, right, you'd be listening thinking, oh, Thomas, really? Do you need to stoke this up? You don't need to stoke it up.
Half-time at the Emirates. Angelina Kelly.
Arsenal 1, Brighton 0. A very lively game so far, with Arsenal deserving the lead with chance after chance in the opening 15 minutes, thanks to some great link-up play down the left channel from the likes of Caitlin Ford, Mariana Caldente and Katie McCabe. It was their £1 million signing Olivia Smith who got the goal, though, with a low cross-come shot which went into the far corner, took a deflection but will go down as her goal for now. It's a little bit concerning that since the goal, Arsenal's intensity has really dropped, but Brighton have been trying to get back into the game with attempts from Kiko Seke. She had a shot from the edge of the D-save just before half-time. You could argue she was a little bit selfish. She did have options on the left, but she's looked very dangerous in this first half. And props to their goalkeeper, Chiamaka Nadozi, who has made some key saves in this half to keep the deficit to just 1. Half-time, Arsenal 1, Brighton 0.
Let's head to the NFL at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. talkSPORT's Brian T. Smith.
The Denver Broncos are trying to take control of this game, Sam. They are the better team. They look like the better team. Bo Nix is one of the best young quarterbacks in the NFL, and he is enjoying London. He's enjoying playing on a Premier League pitch. He's 13 of 16 passes, 112 yards, 115 rating. The Broncos have the ball. The Jets can't do anything on offense at all. It's 10-6 Broncos with 11 minutes left in the first half at Tottenham.
Next on the Sunday session. Thank you very much to Steve in Wincham for this. Bruce Springsteen, your owner's worst enemy has come to town. Diego Costa's story, still smashing up defenders just as often as Erling Haaland is smashing up plates of roast dinner. 03717223344. They are our sounds of the weekend this weekend. We'll also continue our England discussion next. Kathy, the Liverpool fan, says, what about this for the Haaland story? Maroon 5 on the Sunday morning. He loves a Sunday roast. And this for the Costa story.
Carl Douglas.
Fighting Carl Douglas. We had that a lot, didn't we, Carl Douglas and Kung Fu Fighting, when we were doing Sounds of the Weekend on a weekly basis.
This is my walk-on music, darts.
Is it?
Ninja, Kung Fu Fighting.
Now, we've not spoke about the darts, actually. We won the talkSPORT trophy, the Russ Hargreaves Memorial
4-1 up.
Trophy.
It was done and dusted at 4-1.
4-1 up, and then Crookie tried to kill us off, didn't he? You know, he missed his...
Crookie take his own darts?
I don't think he did take his own darts, but he... he did take it seriously.
Very seriously.
Very seriously. And then he lost his leg. He was the first of our players to lose a leg.
I think he nearly went out on 118, didn't he?
He thought he was going to check out.
Yeah,
he kept going, I'm going to check out on this massive...
Missed the double.
Missed the double. He didn't. And as I said to him consistently over the last few days, did you put a point on the board? No. Stop talking. In fact, the only reason that I finished my half marathon today was because I had his voice in my ear saying he wouldn't sponsor me unless I got round, because he was worried about my dodgy hamstring.
Without walking. You didn't walk.
I didn't walk.
Exactly.
Let's talk a little bit about the England performance and the team and who's actually nailed down a place at the World Cup. I've kind of got the feeling that there are very few places now up for grabs in the squad. I think he's already mentioned he's got in his head 16 players that he's going to take. And it's really just the players in and around the fringes of the squad that are sort of competing for a place on the plane. But as far as the 11 is concerned, are Pickford, Guehi, Rice, Saka and Kane the 5 players that are 100% nailed on to be in the team when we start wherever it is they start?
I'd actually, if John Stones is fit, I'd put John Stones in there as well. I think
that's the only question mark because he isn't often.
Yes, but I think obviously that will transpire later on during the season. But I think if John Stones has had a season for Man City and he's 100% fit, I think his centre-half pairing will be Stones and Guehi.
He loves John Stones. He will get John Stones in if he can.
Yeah, because he's a very good defender, but he gives that quality on the ball. We can go and play midfield if you want him to, if you push one of your fullbacks on. So I think...
He's also great at driving standards around the dressing room and in the
leadership
camp.
qualities.
He's absolutely fantastic. They call him the big brother. Mark Guehi gave an interview about him earlier in the week, suggesting, he was almost one of the captains in the team, and probably Rice, Henderson and Kane go along with that.
Yep, I think, as you said there, I think the positions that you're looking at, which I don't think are nailed on, are right back, left winger or left side of the three if you're playing 4-2-3-1, and the number 10. I think Jed Spence, he's now down one of the left backs or the right back because he can play both. I'd rather he played right back because I'd rather have a left-footed left back because I think it gives you better angles. So that will come down to whether Miles Lewis-Skelly is getting regular games for Arsenal. Obviously, Calafiore's in instead of him at the minute, so he needs to play because I think he gives you that balance and he can go and play in midfield. The big question, the elephant in the room, is Jude Bellingham, right? And I know that a lot of people said that he's been strong, he left him out. So it was an easy squad to leave him out of because it's against Wales and Latvia and you're going to win those games. Trust me, if we were playing against France and Holland in those games, Jude Bellingham would have been in the squad. So it was an easy way for Tuchel to show his iron fist, if you know what I mean. Say, look, I'm the boss. It's all about you mentioned about the togetherness, he's big into his NFL, isn't he, Thomas Tuchel, about, everybody being it together and the atmosphere in the dressing room and the camaraderie amongst the squad. Sam, trust me, we don't win the World Cup if Jude Bellingham isn't fit and playing. Because he makes that difference. You know
that I love doing a Game Day Live Sunday session show with you and Mickey Gray because you always
polar opposites
have a different view on situations. Yes. And Mickey Gray was on the Saturday session yesterday, and he believes that Morgan Rogers gives a similar output to Jude Bellingham.
When you look at Jude Bellingham, is he any different to him? I'm not putting them on the same level at all as players. I mean, Jude's gone on to incredible things at Real Madrid, right? But what has Morgan Rogers not got that Jude Bellingham's got? That's what's it, because when he puts that England shirt on, he performs. And if Cole Palmer's not performing when he puts on an England shirt, or Phil Foden is not performing when he puts on an England shirt, then you give these players an opportunity and they won't let you down. And that's how hungry you have to be to play for your country.
That was Mickey Gray on yesterday's Saturday session. What was your reaction to what he said?
I'm glad that he qualified it, what Mickey said there. He said that Morgan Rogers isn't on Jude Bellingham's level because Morgan Rogers is an elite player in the Premier League for an elite football club. Jude Bellingham is the level above. You go to Real Madrid and you knock it out of the park like he did in his first season, where he's one of the Galacticos, right? That puts you on a different level. That puts you at Jude Bellingham, fit Jude Bellingham, and playing to his levels is world class. Morgan Rogers is Premier League elite class, England class. He's not world class. So I think you can get Jude Bellingham. We're talking about the 10s. I was always said I think he can play a bit deeper. I think he can play next to Declan Rice as an 8. Is more space in front of him rather than it get all congested. So you can still then get a Eza or a Morgan Rogers or a Foden in the 10. So I think you've got to have as many attacking players on the pitch as possible, because that is our strength, is actually taking the game to teams, which Thomas Tuchel started to do.
Mickey Gray and Perry Groves go to very different opticians. That's why we love having them on a Sunday. Someone I know, says Mark P, left after 30 minutes on Thursday night, was home by full time, sole purpose of getting a cap. Surely he wasn't the only one. It's sad, really. Neil says, and I'm on board with Neil's text here, I think everyone's missing the point. Thomas means to up the ante for the whole team, work and for the whole team ethic, not just the players, but the whole country from the off. It's a nothing headline. Chill. Neil the Villa.
Don't mention it.
I'm with him. I'm with him. I'm with Neil.
Neil's saying chill, right?
Chill.
The only reason
chill.
We're only talking about it. Do a bit of yoga, have an ice bath, right? The reason we're talking about it is Thomas Tuchel.
I could do with an ice bath.
You could with your joints. I can hear them from here. We need some WD-40 if anybody's got any. But you know, Sam, when it builds up, right, and it starts building up, the whole country will be fervent. The whole country will be behind this England team.
He wants it now. Let's speak to Jeff, who's a Newcastle fan. Hello.
Afternoon, boys. How are we doing?
Hello, Jeff.
Yeah, we're good. We're good to have you on the show. What do you want to say?
Well, I think the point everyone's missing here is, every other aspect of the England squad is being built for the World Cup and built for the long-term future. Tuchel's like leaving players out, resting players. You were just saying like not picking first team 11. Players were easing off after half an hour. I think the atmosphere is the fans doing the same, and it's so important that we give a chance for some of the younger kids to come along, get their first experience. It's the equivalent of blooding a young player in a friendly. Giving the fans the first experience of going to an England game, that will hook them in, and that gets us the next generation of passionate diehard fans that will be travelling to Slovakia and who knows where.
Absolutely, and this is the point that I was making a little bit earlier when I said you can't have everything. You can't have cheap tickets so that families can come along to this game. Crookie was moaning about the atmosphere and this, that and the other on the Friday show this week, but yet then said, I take my kids on a regular basis to these games because I can afford to take all of them, because the FA make it so cheap and so accessible for people to be able to go in. You can't have that and then crave the diehard atmosphere and then have a situation where you need to get caps for qualifications to be able to go to major tournaments if you're a loyal supporter. You can't have everything all at the same time. That was the point that I was making. I think you're right, Jeff.
Yeah, absolutely, Sam. And it's a wonderful thing. We should be celebrating the fact that people are able to bring all their kids along and give them that experience. It's, for me, it's about properly building something sustainable. It's like, if you're getting your hair cut, you're getting a new hairdo, do you put the effort in, really kind of like go to a top hairdresser, get it built up brilliantly so it's really there for the long term? Or do you go and get a cheap wig, or you get Goldstein's cheap hair dye product just to make it look good for
bit of just for men.
It's paste. He's got new paste out. It's not hair dye. It's paste.
Hair dye. Yeah, same thing, isn't it?
Do you know what? I think hair's very overrated anyway, to be fair.
You have to think that.
But the thing is, it's a brilliant point, is it's a family atmosphere. It's a different atmosphere. It's not... Football is in the Premier League is tribal, right? Everything is tribal, like different fans against each other, different cities. You get that in international games when you think that the opposition can beat you. You get that sort of fervent atmosphere. It doesn't happen in these games, and it's not going to happen in the warm-up friendlies. And quite rightly, it should be priced so that you can take your families, you can take your kids, you can take your sons, your daughters, whatever.
I think they should do something in the March friendlies where they create almost like a competition. A little bit like they do with the She Believes Cup. I think they've done it with the women's international team, where they almost create a 3-team competition so that there is a real competitive edge with top nations in that March international break, where they can try and sort of create a few grudge matches. I don't know who they can pick to come and play those games at Wembley. I think they'll both be at Wembley in March. But, there's probably only 3 games left at Wembley between now and the World Cup, and they've got to make the most of them. Let's go to Brian T. Smith and find out who's making the most of the NFL game at Tottenham. It looks like the Denver Broncos.
It is the Denver Broncos and Bo Nix. I'm not sure the Jets are going to be allowed to go back to New York if this continues, Sam. They have 1 yard of offense. 1 yard. They've run 12 plays. Justin Fields, the Jets quarterback, would be benched if they had anyone better. They don't have anyone better. The Broncos should be up by 3 scores. However, it's only 10-6. They are driving. 6 minutes left in the first half. This is all Broncos so far. They just need to get a few more points on the board, but this is looking like it could end up being a blowout from Tottenham.
A big Al on the buttons behind the glass has just said maybe England should play Eswatini in March. We don't want that. We don't want that. We don't want that. We want a real hard competitive game. Eswatini may well give them that. I don't know, but on the record of on the evidence of their record, I'm not sure it would be.
Right, you'd love a little Eswatini trip away, wouldn't you? You say, what? I've got to go and acclimatise. Get ready for the World Cup.
I need 5 days beforehand this build-up. Right, okay, when we come back, we'll be doing this.
This is my fight song. Take back my life.
Thank you very much to Florence in Buckinghamshire, who's got in touch. Rachel Platten and Fight Song 4. I wonder what? Diego Costa, who can't stop fighting with defenders, even though he's in his 60s now or something like that. And Erling Haaland, our other sound of the weekend this weekend, for smashing a roast dinner. He says it's the perfect way to rejuvenate after a big Premier League game. Next, we'll be hearing from the Crystal Palace chairman, Steve Parish. He was on the Sunday edition earlier today, and he was pretty spicy.
Everybody's worried about me in too deep.
Good afternoon, this is the Sunday session. The WSL has been in sharp focus today. Lots of games that kicked off at midday. Chelsea won theirs. They're top of the table by 2 points from Manchester United, who are 2 points back. Manchester City play a little bit later on. They have the chance to close the gap to just a point. Chelsea at the top of the table. They go to Liverpool this afternoon. Arsenal 1-0 up against Brighton, and they're going up into 5th position. 11 points from their 6 games. They've had a bit of an iffy start to the season so far. London City Lionesses has done really well. They got another point on the board today. They'll probably be 6th by the end of the day. They went up to 5th after their victory earlier on against bottom place West Ham United. In the international football, Scotland take on Belarus at 5 o'clock. It's a key game for Scotland. Not only does Steve Clarke reach a new milestone, but Scotland could guarantee a playoff place if Denmark do them a favour as well. And the Denver Broncos lead the New York Jets by 10 points to 6. That kicks off at 2:30 over on talkSPORT 2. And we'll be back over with Brian T. Smith very shortly. The commentary continues over on talkSPORT 2. 7-7 Harlequins against Saracens. That kicks off at 3 o'clock in the Gallagher Premier League. And you are up to date on the Sunday session. Well, it was a big day on the Sunday edition today. Not only did they have the new football regulator join Sean Custis and Henry Winter, but the Crystal Palace chairman and co-owner Steve Parish also came into the studio a little bit earlier today, and he had this to say on UEFA's decision to throw the club out of the Europa League.
Yeah, it was unfortunate, wasn't it? And I mean, the whole thing is a pretty sorry episode, really. You know, I look back on it and I think in the end, you know, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. You know, look, we just got to look positively. We're in the Conference League. You know, we're excited to be in the Conference League. We wish we'd been in the Europa League, but we've put it behind us really now. I think, look, UEFA have got to look at the rules that they've implemented and the way they communicate them. I don't think that they're sensible rules. There is a huge irony in that, you know, I don't really believe in multi-club. I don't really want to be a part of it. And we never did anything, you know, with that club. So it seems an extraordinary decision. And of course, everybody feels like if it wasn't, we were just the right sort of size club you can make an example of, weren't we? You know, we were just the right, you know, enough that maybe it puts people off not conforming in the future. But the general feeling is if we were a bigger club, they would have found a way.
It's interesting, isn't it? You know, the suggestion that if they were a bigger club, they would have found a way to allow them to continue in the Europa League. And bearing in mind it was a technical infraction, do you think that's true?
He might have a point on the size of the club, but I think Steve Parish, and I think he's a brilliant owner. He loves Crystal Palace, you know, proper football fan who's, you know, running a club. He has to take responsibility because it's down to him. They knew the rules. It all came, I think it was March the 1st, wasn't it? You wasn't allowed to have interest in 2 clubs. Look at Marinakis. We talk about Marinakis, you know, with his ego. Everybody knows Olympiacos and Nottingham Forest. What did Marinakis do? He put his shares in a blind trust, right?
There was a date differential there.
But they knew the rules coming up. I think maybe winning the FA Cup sort of took them by surprise because back in March the 1st, I think it was around about the last 16 or the quarter-final against the game against Millwall. That was basically the deadline. And they've been in that game. You think, actually, we're 3 games away from winning the FA Cup. So they might have thought, oh, maybe it's not going to, you know, impinge on us. So it comes down to, if you're running the club, you have to be aware of the rules so that if UEFA want to be petty, you don't give them the chance to be petty. And that was the sole reason. So I think Steve there needs to take a little bit of responsibility himself and think, actually, we should have been over it like the other clubs were because they knew you couldn't have, like, interest in 2 different football clubs.
What about the Mark Guehi situation? We also heard from Steve Parish on that and why they managed to keep him during the summer.
I decided in the end that based on the advice that I got and with what I think, you know, that we would have a better season if we kept Mark. You know, we don't guess about these things. And if you look at it rationally, if you look at what it's worth per place in the Premier League, the fact that we're in the European Conference League for the first time in our history, this is a fairly unusual set of circumstances, right, in which to keep a player. You know, if we were fighting between the difference of, you know, 10th and 14th, if that was going to be the difference between keeping Mark and letting Mark go, then probably we would have said, right, you know, we should take the money. You know, we should take the money. We've got JD who's come in, who's going to develop as a player, we hope. We've got Chaddy coming back from injury. Hopefully that, you know, we'll be okay. You know, we should be okay and that there's no big loss. But with the Conference League, with the the way that we want to fight this season, maybe to finish in the top half of the league for the first time, we felt it was a good decision to keep Mark.
What do you think about that?
I think Oliver Glasner might have had a little, I know he probably can't say it, because I think that...
Well, the rumours were that Oliver Glasner basically put his foot down and said, if he doesn't stay, then I'm leaving.
Yes, right. So, which is understandable. And to be fair, again, Steve Parish, being a Crystal Palace fan, and looked at it and thought, we can't afford to lose Oliver Glasner over this Mark Guehi situation, so I will not take the 35, 40 million what maybe they could have got. But the problem they have is that it gets into January. Now, if Crystal Palace look like they're going to go and win the Conference League, then he'll stay. If they don't, then Mark Guehi will be gone in January because they want to get some money.
They're really lucky with Guehi as well, because he is a very level-headed guy, and he's spoken about this actually even in the last week. He said, as far as he is concerned, he basically said, I don't care about where I'm playing my club football. I just need to be playing well. If I'm a Crystal Palace player, I need to play well for Crystal Palace, and I need to do the best for them. If I'm somewhere else, then I'm somewhere else, and I'll end up having to do the best for them. That's my job as a player. And he's very sort of not single-minded, but he's very focused, I think, as a man in being able to not be distracted by all of the talk that is going on around him.
But he's a good character.
He's a great character.
Rich Eze, those two conduct themselves impeccably, throughout the whole transfer window. And they wanted to leave on good terms and didn't want to sully their reputation at Crystal Palace. When you look at Alexander Isak, he was completely different. Didn't give a rat's backside about Newcastle. I mean, now he's like reaping, not say benefits, but he's reaping the negative side of the way that he conducted himself. But with Mark Guehi, maybe...
Well, he's run into problems with Sweden, hasn't he, as well, because they're bottom of their group qualification. The Swedish fans have turned on him a little bit because they feel
he's not fit.
He's not ready to sort of contribute.
Yeah, so he's not fit. But just on the Mark Guehi one, he might have looked at it and thought, I know that I'm going to be Crystal Palace captain. I'll play for the whole season. I think his focus is the World Cup, obviously, because he wants to be that left side centre-half. He might have thought he went to Liverpool. He might not have got into the team as quickly as what he wanted to. But now you look away at Liverpool, with Konate having like an absolute shocker, he probably would have. So I think this is a situation that it might work out well for all parties. Crystal Palace might have to take a hit because he's going to go on free at the end of the season. Then Steve Parish has got the situation with Oliver Glasner, because obviously his contract's up at the end of the season. But there's every chance that Crystal Palace could win their second major cup competition in their history if they kept Glasner and Guehi, and they did both.
He also spoke about the prospect of Premier League teams playing games abroad, and this is what he said.
I don't want to be complacent, but we don't really need to do that. And of course, you can't recreate the experience of a Premier League ground in any of these places. We see this from the friendly things that we do around America. I think they're good promotional things, but then that's not a Premier League game. That's not the atmosphere that you get at a Premier League game. That's not what makes it unique. So, I would say if anybody wants to come and experience it, come to a Premier League game. I'm sure you can find a way to get a ticket. I don't see us doing it. I can see the reason La Liga are trying to do it. The Premier League and the Premier League exec are doing such an outstanding job, in media rights around the world, that along with the Champions League, UCC, really, it's crushing everybody else's media income. There is only so much media money in the world, and it's a fight for share of that media income. And this is the thing. The Premier League's real challenges are, UCC, Club World Cup. These are the things that are our competitors. Without being in any way complacent, we really are light years ahead of other European leagues in terms of revenue, and I don't think there's anything to be gained by doing it.
Interesting, especially bearing in mind that one of his new owners, Woody Johnson, who is very much going to be a large shareholder at Crystal Palace, is currently in London with his New York Jets franchise, and they're currently playing an NFL game live at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. But I think he's right about the fact that the Premier League are light years in terms of ahead of La Liga and the Bundesliga and a lot of other leagues in this world of sort of selling their rights. But you also got to be a little bit careful that you don't get complacent. I don't think there's any prospect of English League games being played abroad, and I think that's probably a very good thing, and it should be something that we protect going forward. But I do also think that the product still has to be good enough to be able to attract the eyeballs of everybody across the world if it wants to stay in place. Arsenal should be further in front, but actually then Brighton hit back and produced a massive save from Van Domselaar. Here's Angelina Kelly.
Yes, Arsenal 1, Brighton 0. It was a very calm start to this second half. There were chances for both sides. It has had elements of the 1-1 draw that Arsenal had at the Emirates against Aston Villa, where they started strongly, got the lead, then the intensity dropped. However, like you say, both goalkeepers have had to make some really, really key saves. They've been extremely important. But one thing that the Arsenal fans will be happy about is that Renée Slagers is not wasting any time. She has made quite a few saves with the likes of Beth Mead, Blackstenius, Kyra Cooney-Cross coming on. So it looks like they really want to try and get this win and not end up in another situation like the Aston Villa game where they ended up drawing with a late equaliser. So it's Arsenal 1, Brighton 0.
Any further points on the board at the NFL, Brian T. Smith?
Yeah, the New York Jets are trying to get something going, Sam, at the end of the second quarter as we go into halftime, but they are about to punt. I haven't seen a game like this in a long time. The Denver Broncos are controlling every part of it. They have 175 yards. The Jets only have 22. Jets quarterback Justin Fields is just struggling. He's thrown 6 passes for 11 yards. However, it's only 10-6 Broncos with 1 minute left in the first half. And so the Jets are hanging in this game, even though they're being completely outplayed. Let's see what the Broncos can do with the last minute. Everything favors Denver, but they have to be careful not to blow this.
Okay, thank you very much, Brian. Stranger Things is next.
Sunday kind of love.
It's what Erling Haaland sings to his Sunday roast every single week.
Diego Costa to his opponents when he's playing in charity games.
That's from Ruben, the Chelsea fan, on Erling Haaland. And this is from Georgia in Wembley. Bit of Christina Aguilera. For Diego Costa, who's still fighting defenders. Yeah, the fighter. Let's go to Steve Hoffersall, because Liverpool might have a fight on their hands today. They take on Manchester City, who can go within touching distance of Chelsea at the top of the WSL. Should they win today, Steve?
Yeah, I reckon it's a tough one, this, for Liverpool. Both managers making just one change from their last outings. Liverpool bring Gemma Evans in at right back. They're going to have to be a tight unit against a Man City side that are scoring at ease. And that includes the Swiss starlet, Iman Benny, who struck the dramatic 88th minute winner in the 3-2 victory over Arsenal. So her reward is to start at Anfield today. The Liverpool boss, Gareth Taylor, insists he's going to stick to his footballing philosophy despite 4 straight defeats. For the City boss, Andre Jeglerts, it's about getting 3 points and putting them back above United in the table and on the coattails of Chelsea. 4:45 the kickoff.
Thank you very much. It's time for this.
Stranger Things on the Sunday session on talkSPORT.
And we start Stranger Things with the Weymouth FC, where it's all kicked off. The 7th tier side have sacked their own commentator after he went full Roy Keane. Have you heard this? It's unbelievable. Ben Ashelford was covering a match when he snapped, blasting the club's board for mismanagement and even claiming there wasn't a set of nuts between them. Don't hold back, Ben, whatever you do. Weymouth, managed by Steve Claridge, weren't having it and confirmed Ashelford had crossed the line. The rant might have been passionate, but it cost him the gig. To be fair, he's held his hands up since, posting an apology saying, "I was wrong." That's one way to ensure you get your P45 and a decent reference.
It's in your blood, you can't help it, and when your blood boils. Now, our next Stranger Thing is thanks to the special one, well, after this story, probably named the mean one. Former Manchester United man Henrik Mkhitaryan has opened up on his new book about the row that ended his Old Trafford stint, and it's pure Mourinho theatre. Despite being one of Jose's first United signings, Mkhitaryan says the boss barely spoke to him in training, but would WhatsApp him at night with messages like, "Mickey, please leave." He lasted just 18 months before being shipped off. Now 36 and playing for Inter, Mkhitaryan's finally had his say, and yet Mourinho was as subtle as ever. Another classic Mourinho fallout. Who would have thought? You know the thing about that is, don't call me Mickey. You don't like me. Don't take the Mickey by calling me Mickey. Like my nice sort of.
Do you know what?
nickname.
We often complain about the fact that sometimes players don't know where they stand with managers. I think he did.
I think Mourinho's definitely black and white. There's no grey.
We continue Stranger Things with a story that will give every man in the world a big sigh of relief that everyone is human, right? You might think David Beckham's got it all. Global icon, football legend, minted, and yes, annoyingly handsome. But guess what? He snores. Victoria, a.k.a. Posh Spice, has revealed that she wears earplugs in bed, not for fashion, not for fun, but to survive the snoring. Speaking to The Sun after the release of her new Netflix documentary, she said, "David might look like that, but breaking news, even he snores." So, fellas, next time someone gives you stick for snoring, just remind them, even the 2015 sexiest man alive makes a racket at bedtime. There's hope for us all.
I snore on purpose, so I go in the spare room. Just get a good night's kip. It's perfect, absolutely.
I slept in the same room as the Crookmeister the other night, and it was like sleeping in the pig pen at London Zoo. It was so loud.
I was like a hibernating bear, wasn't it?
Oh, my God.
Grizzly bear. Bless his cot socks. And finally, our Stranger Things could have ended up in any of our features today. A former League Two striker versus Lionel Messi for the MLS Golden Boot. Yes, you heard that right. Former Stoke, Yeovil and Weymouth striker Sam Surridge is now banging in the goals for Nashville SC and has 23 goals to his name, just one behind Messi. The twist, Surridge has one game left and it's against Messi's Inter Miami next week. See, talking about jeopardy. So if you're like Sam Surridge and you mentioned in the same breath as Lionel Messi and you're going head to head to win the MLS Golden Boot, how good's that in your career?
It is. He says it's a big ask. He reckons he might need a hat-trick to pull it off, but he's backing himself. Just have to add, my name mentioned alongside him is a huge achievement. He's held The Sun. From League Two to toe-to-toe with the GOAT. I mean, I think we should get behind him.
Do you think you've been asking one of his defenders just to have a little Martin Keown reducer on Lionel just to test him?
Next here on the Sunday session.
And when you put it all together, there's the model of the charmless man.
This is from a WhatsApp from an unknown suggester. The charmless man for Diego Costa from Blur. We'll be discussing goal music, actually, in the next section of the programme. Does it have a place in football? Chelsea fans don't think so.
For free, I began to go a little cross.
Formula One. It's a sport often seen as insular and elitist, but it's seen a meteoric rise under its owners Liberty Media, not only in popularity and viewership, but in the ability to almost print money. From greater access to more races, here's how it happened. For decades, Formula One was owned and run by one man, Bernie Ecclestone. He was old school, someone who thought the sport itself was enough, and there was no need for all this modern marketing and social media nonsense. But in 2016, Ecclestone agreed to sell his baby to American group Liberty Media. It cost Liberty Media $4.4 billion, and they quickly got to work. We got an F1 app almost immediately, and teams were allowed to show us more from behind the scenes. One of Liberty's most important deals was with Netflix, which in 2019 brought us Drive to Survive. The effect? An almost 70% rise in viewership for races in the US alone. It's massively benefited Formula One online too, with a rise from 7.8 million followers across its social media platforms in 2016 to around 50 million today. New eyes are on the sport too, with F1's own subscription TV channel, which people can watch anywhere in the world. But the main market they've tapped into is the US. There's now 3 races there a year in Texas, Miami and Las Vegas, and an American-branded team, Cadillac, getting involved in the sport too. More races seems to be the direction of travel. A street circuit in Madrid's being welcomed onto the calendar, while conversations around a Grand Prix in Africa have ramped up in the last few years. More big events could be in the offing too, after the massive F1 75 season launch event in London in 2025. 7.5 million people tuned in to watch it live across their social media channels, and that doesn't include the viewing figures for where it was broadcast on TV in certain countries. It seems Liberty will do whatever they can to grow the F1 brand. Their efforts have been worthwhile too, with Forbes valuing the sport at $17.1 billion back in 2023, almost 4 times more than what they bought it for in 2016. Not bad, considering it's seen as a sport where people
here.
Oh, and he's found the net! What a run and what a goal!
There.
He hits it first time. What a volley! What a goal!
On Sundays.
Oh, what a goal!
We are everywhere. On DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM. Strap yourself in. It's Destination Football. The Sunday Session on talkSPORT.
You are listening to the Sunday Session with me, Sam Matterface, and the former Arsenal winger, Perry Groves. Elsewhere in the WSL today, Chelsea went top of the table. They beat Tottenham on talkSPORT 2 with a stunning goal from Kira Walsh. Everton beaten at home by Manchester United by 4-1. And Aston Villa drew 0-0 with Leicester City. London City Lionesses briefly went into the top 5 thanks to a victory over West Ham. What's the latest at the Emirates, Angelina Kelly? Because Arsenal are trying to stop them from staying there.
Yes, it's Arsenal 1, Brighton 0. £1 million signing Olivia Smith. She, of course, put her side ahead 15 minutes in with a shot that did take a deflection from Brighton defender Marissa Ollie-Slagers. But since then, Brighton have tried their best to get back into the game. Their defender, Miles Mapome, has unfortunately been stretched off, though, with a nasty-looking injury after taking a ball to the face on what was her first WSL start. Arsenal have lacked intensity since they went ahead, but manager Renee Slagers, she's brought on the likes of Stina Blackstenius and Beth Mead to try to ensure they take 3 points for the first time in 5 games. Arsenal 1, Brighton 0.
At 4:45, it's Liverpool against Manchester City, who can go within touching distance of Chelsea at the top of the table. Team news comes from Steve Hoffersel.
Well, after bagging a late winner against Arsenal, the young Swiss star Iman Benny is brought into Man City's 11 today. It's the only change that Andre Yeglert's mates. Gareth Taylor insists his Liverpool team is showing signs of improvement, so he doesn't change much. Evans in at right back, the emphasis on trying to keep a clean sheet. 4:45, the kick-off at Anfield.
There's a World Cup playoff place in the balance tonight for Scotland. Can they beat Belarus? And what's the headline team news? David Tanner.
Well, Scotland are expected to beat Belarus, who've lost all 3 qualifiers, but as Steve Clarke admits, these are the type of qualifiers the Scots have struggled in during the barren years of 6 failed World Cup campaigns since starting at France 1998. Steve Clarke makes 5 changes, 3 of them enforced, and the 2 centre-backs are being rotated. Those 5 changes to the team that mugged Greece in the second half on Thursday night. Full team news coming up soon on talkSPORT.
We've had the halftime show at the NFL at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. What's in store in the second half on the field? Brian T. Smith.
Yeah, Sam, the New York Jets are going to get relegated if this comes up. They were booed off the field at halftime. They're playing in a Premier League stadium at Tottenham, and their fans, the NFL fans in London, booed them because their offense was so bad. However, it's only 10-6. They are still technically in this game. We're waiting for kickoff to begin the third quarter. The Broncos need to finish this off to keep rising in the AFC West.
Harlequins leading Saracens by 10 points to 7 at halftime in the Gallagher Prem. Saracens 100%ers so far in the division, or we're in 3 weeks in. Harlequins 100% losers so far. Maybe the tables will turn at the Stoop this afternoon. Valentin Vachereau beat Arthur Reindegneck in 3 sets at the ATP Shanghai Masters final. Unbelievable turn of events for him. He'd already beaten Novak Djokovic in the semi-finals, so it's a big turning point in his career. Coco Gauff won the women's event in an all-American battle in straight sets. This is the Sunday session, and you listen to talkSPORT. And however you watch your telly, you can now watch talkSPORT from Samsung and LG TVs, not LGV TVs. I mean, you might have a light goods vehicle as a television, I don't know. Fire TV, Chromecast and Apple TV. talkSPORT is available on your screen as well as your speakers. And coming out your speakers right now is David Tanner, who's got full team news from Scotland, Belarus.
And 2 of Scotland's goal scorers in Thursday night's win over Greece are suspended today. Lewis Ferguson and Ryan Christie are joined in the stand by the injured Aaron Hickey. In come fans' favourite Billy Gilmer and Kenny McLean in midfield, with Anthony Ralston starting at right back for Hickey, who's injured his hamstring again. The centre-backs are shuffled. Scott McKenna now playing his club football in Croatia, and Jack Henry, they replace John Suter and Grant Hanley. Remember, if results go his way, Steve Clarke could be guaranteed a World Cup playoff spot this evening. Scotland play Belarus here at Hampden Park in just under an hour, Sam.
And David, it is worth pointing out that they got a fantastic result in midweek with that 3-1 win against Greece, but it was not a fantastic performance, was it? They will have to improve.
It was a mugging. I mean, it was a Greek tragedy, for once not for Scotland, but for the Greeks themselves. I cannot understand how Scotland could be so bad for over an hour and then turn it on and grab 3 goals in the last half hour. I'm very pleased that they did. It shows that this team have got courage. I remember a game a year ago in Norway where they came from a goal down and scored 2 goals in the last 3 minutes to win the game en route to the Euros. So Scotland showed the best of this team, their positive experiences in recent times, but they need to play much, much better for the full 90 minutes. We don't expect much from Belarus. However, I remember nearly 20 years ago now, in their previous visit, Belarus coming here when Scotland under Walter Smith have been revitalised, and we expected them to beat Belarus and perhaps trouble the World Cup latter stages. And Alexander Kleb, then of Arsenal, came over and totally dominated the game, and Scotland were 1-0 losers, and a real surprise. So, as I said a moment ago, this is the type of game the Scots have struggled in 6 failed World Cup campaigns, but they need to get it right now, and I think they will, because this is a group that knows how to get to major championships. They've done it twice under Steve Clarke, and no managers have done it to taking a Scotland team to 3 major tournaments, and Steve Clarke is in pole position to do that after a terrific start to this group.
Yeah, he takes charge of a record 72nd game tonight. And Belarus were thrashed 6-0 by Denmark last week. They lost 5-1 in Greece in September before a 2-0 defeat to Scotland behind closed doors in Hungary. So there's a good reason for David and Scotland to be very confident going into the game. It kicks off at 5 o'clock. We'll keep you updated here on talkSPORT. Chelsea fans have signed a petition against the club playing goal music. This season, someone in charge at Chelsea FC has instructed the Stamford Bridge DJ to play a few bars of the Fratelli single Chelsea Dagger immediately after the team scores a goal. The aim of this petition is to persuade those running Chelsea that playing Chelsea Dagger, and indeed any other tune, after a goal is scored is something that a significant swathe of the Stamford Bridge supporters do not want. I wonder if there are any fans out there that want goal music, played every time a goal is scored. What would be the possible reason for using it?
What nationality is Chelsea's owner?
American.
Right, okay, right. This is very, very American, isn't it? Very American. I think we should go a step further. You know, when the players run out, they should go out along a pyrotechnic tunnel with all fireworks going off.
You're being facetious.
Come out individually, you know what I mean? Just come out to their own. I tell you what, why don't they come out to their own?
You lot started playing
music?
North London Forever to get you up before games.
That's an anthem. Before
it's a
games.
constructed anthem.
No, before games, which was written by Louis Dunford, who's a massive Arsenal fan.
Great.
And Arteta went, "This suits us. This is our anthem."
Whereas the Chelsea Dagger song is written by the Fratellis, who are Celtic fans from Glasgow, and they hate Chelsea.
Right, I know,
because Rangers and Chelsea have got a relationship, and Celtic fans do not like Chelsea, so it's a stupid choice of song anyway.
Anyway, but before games, I sort of get it, not a problem, right? During the game, I reckon if you did a poll, you'd have what I would say the Chelsea fans, like season ticket holders and fans of Chelsea for numerous amounts of years, they would be totally against it. Then you'd have the tourist fans, which every club has, not just Chelsea, every club has them. They might sit there and think, oh, that's quite good, that's quite entertaining. But I think they should actually bring in Knocked It Off by B.A. Robertson, because if a goal gets knocked off from VAR, then you can have another record, can't you? And say that
we don't want records being played.
I know, absolutely, I'm with you. But
we want atmosphere. We want to hear the noise. We want to hear the vibe of the crowd, the roar of the people behind the goal.
The unadulterated joy
is given.
Yes, you want that emotion, right? Unadulterated joy, where all fans come together when their team scored. It is very American. And you said on your intro there, the stadium announcer or DJ has been advised to. It's 100% it's come from the top, without any shadow of doubt. And to be fair to him, right, he's not going to say, or her, they're not going to say no.
Do you know what? We talked about atmospheres earlier on today, and I think that, Arsenal have done a very good job. I think it was the Ashburton Army that started to try and the atmosphere
behind the goal at the clock
end. At the clock end, yeah. And obviously you've got the new anthem, which they've started to play over the last
spine-tingling, Sam, honestly. If you're an Arsenal fan, it is spine-tingling.
It is, it gets people going, which is great. We've got Liverpool who have been doing it for years with different, not only You'll Never Walk Alone, but also the flags that they do. They're brilliant. Newcastle, the War Flags group, that have really upped the atmosphere there. Done a really good job. Manchester United now trying to replicate some sort of elements of all of that by playing Country Road right before kickoff, and also getting the flags at one end, the Stretford end as well. So lots of clubs are sort of buying into the sort of trying to up the ante in terms of atmosphere. So I can understand why Chelsea want to do it. I just don't think this is the right way to do it. You don't want songs being played when goals go in. You want literally the roar of emotion.
You've got more chance of alienating fans and bringing fans together with this. As I said, it's very Americanized. It's very NFL. We don't need to go down that NFL route, because it is unadulterated joy and passion. You lose when your team scores. I want to swear, obviously, but you lose your whatever. That's what you want. You don't.
Head?
Exactly. Head. Yeah. You don't. Your senses. That's it. Senses. Right. You don't want that. Chelsea dagger just playing it, because in the end it will annoy you.
Well, it's
It'll
already
Chelsea
started.
fans.
We get 2,760 signatures so far. If you want to add your name to it, go and Google it, because I'm sure it's pretty easy to get hold of.
What about when Chelsea score, right? They play this Fratelli's Chelsea dagger.
They're not Chelsea fans.
Right.
I mean, if you're going to play Suggs' record, or if you're going to play a Blur record, at least they're Chelsea
invested
fans.
in the team.
They're invested in the team, and they want their songs to be played in and around the ground, right?
But what about if they start?
The Fratellis don't even want it. The Fratellis actually said they wish they'd named the song anything other than Chelsea Dagger, because they don't want it associated with.
Start booing it. Chelsea fans start booing it when they play. Cheer your team scoring, hear that, and then start booing.
It's absolutely crazy. I'd like to hear what you think of this. 03717 223344. WhatsApp us. Tell us your views, please. Angelina Kelly is watching Arsenal against Brighton. They're just getting into injury time. They have got 13 minutes of injury time, so it's going to be a little bit of time added on. But boy, did Chloe Kelly go close.
Yeah, she did. I mean, we know her as the super sub for Arsenal and for England at the Euro. She scored a few winning goals. Good to see her on the pitch. A lot of Arsenal fans questioning if she should be starting more for the Gunners. But nonetheless, she's on the pitch and she looks hungry for a goal. Like you say, 13 minutes of added time due to the Brighton defender, Melima Pomé. She had an awful injury, which saw her stretchered off. Hopefully she will be okay. But it looks like Arsenal want to try and really kill this game off, because like I say, you think about the last time they were at the Emirates, when Aston Villa got that late equaliser. They'll be hoping to avoid that. Arsenal 1, Brighton 0.
This is talkSPORT. Brian T. Smith is at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium for us today. The NFL in full swing. What's happening?
Yeah, I think hate watching is a term with the younger generation, Sam. That's what's happening with the New York Jets. However, they are staying in it. They just kicked another field goal. They've kicked 3 successful field goals today. That's the only way they've scored. Their quarterback, Justin Fields, has only thrown for 28 yards, which is absolutely abysmal. But they're only a point out of this. And so I'm hate watching the Jets, but they haven't won this season. Can they find a way to upset the Denver Broncos at Tottenham? They're only a point behind right now with 10:25 left in the third quarter.
And that tickled us. Hate watching. We love that.
You know, the thing is, you said they got booed off at half time.
Yeah.
I wonder if they'd have got booed off if they were at home in the NFL. I wonder if it's a different sort
Different
of mentality.
vibe.
Yeah, that obviously these are all like English-based fans and European-based fans that are going there to be entertained, and they boo.
Next on the Sunday session.
'Cause if one day you wake up and find that you're missing me,
It's the script, The Man Who Can't Be Moved, on the Diego Costa story in our Sounds of the Weekend from Elliot in South London. We like that. That's very good. Keep them coming, 03717 2233 44. It's also the same number if you want to WhatsApp us about our debate. Goal music. You having it or not? One thing I love about Sounds of the Weekend is that we don't know what's coming until it actually comes out of the speaker, which is brilliant. Haaland's story, of course, he likes a Sunday roast, Feed the World by Band-Aid. That's Bradley, the Burnley fan. And this one from the Red Hot Chili Peppers from Molly, the Tottenham fan.
Can't stop, addicted to the shindig. Chop, chop, it says I'm gonna win big. Choose not to life of imitation.
Can't Stop, Won't Stop, Red Hot Chili Peppers for Diego Costa. Absolutely love it. Keep them coming. This is talkSPORT. It's Sam Matterface and Perry Groves on the Sunday session. And we've got literally a full board of calls to talk about goal music. Let's speak to Vernon, who's a Chelsea fan. Hello, mate.
Sam, all right, Perry.
Hello, Vernon.
Hello. Thanks for bringing this up, Sam. And I thought you spoke very well, Perry. You actually said what most fans think. I'm almost 100% sure this has come from the top and the American owners. And I was told by somebody that it was brought up when it was first smooted about 2 weeks ago. They were going to start doing it. That somebody at Chelsea said to them, the fans are not going to like it. And they said, they sort of brushed it off. I say, they'll be all right. They'll get on with it. That sort of attitude, Sam. And I think it's downright disgraceful. I think it's absolutely awful. And I think it's when you score a goal, it's the best part of football.
Yeah, and listen,
you lose your mind. And
yep, exactly.
VAR's already ruined a lot of fun for fans, hasn't it, boys? VAR's already taken that element away. And I mean, you know that last week against Liverpool when they scored in injury time, everybody went radio rental, and rightly so. Rightly so. Any crowd would, but they even tried to force the music over the crowd during that game. No one noticed it, but you listen to it back, watch a replay, and I'm thinking, why are they doing it? Well, they're trying to divide the fan base, aren't they? I don't know.
Well, you do think about that moment at the end of the Liverpool game, right? You think about Esteval scoring that goal. Everybody losing their brain, and Maresca running down the touchline. Do you need the Fratellis as a soundtrack to that? Do you need any other soundtrack to that rather than just the crowd noise? You don't. You don't need it. And you know, I wouldn't mind if it was something that was actually associated with Chelsea. I still wouldn't mind, actually. But at least it would be something that's associated with Chelsea. This isn't.
Do you know what, Vern? You know, when I said about, obviously, it come from on high, right?
Yeah.
Has no one got the cojones to say to the people who come out with ideas? You know, when you have brainstorming ideas and you throw it around, has anybody not gone, no, that doesn't happen in our football. We don't have it in our football grounds.
Apparently, Perry, someone did say to them in a fan forum, they said, this will not happen. This is going to be a disaster. The fans will hate it. Now, remember about a year or so ago or more when the board was seen to be doing a poor job at Chelsea, and there was a thing outside Fulham Road with all the placards. Well, I've got a funny feeling this would be even worse than that time because the Chelsea fans are actually raging about it, because really and truthfully, every football fan should be against it, because it's the best part of football. When you hear the crowd going like that when Esteban scored that goal, for any club, never mind Chelsea, everybody goes mad. And it's one of them things you remember for the rest of your bloody life. And they're trying to spoil it with rinky-tink music. And as you said, Sam, it's not even a Chelsea song. It's a bloody horrible song. I call it knuckle jagger music, because it's like, duh, 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 duh. And I'm thinking, shut the, beep up. You know what I mean?
Vernon, thank you very much for your call. Appreciate
Vernon.
it. Nice and passionate. We like that. Dave,
sat on the fence a bit there, didn't he, Vern?
Just a bit. Dave, hello.
Hi, boys.
Hello, Dave.
I love the show. Just a quick trivia question. Name the 4 British grounds who first sang by the fans, "You'll Never Walk Alone."
Oh, I'm going to go Liverpool Celtic.
Liverpool was 4th, Celtic weren't.
Celtic weren't one of them.
Do you want me to give it?
Did Man United sing it?
Do you want me to give you the answer?
Go on, give us the answer.
Man United sung it first.
Yeah, Man United first.
sung
Yeah,
it second.
thought it was. Yeah.
And Man United sung it third. The thing was, after the Munich disaster, an operatic group sung it at the memorial concert.
Okay.
And then some of the sopranos who were at who were Man United fans tried to get the Old Trafford crowd to sing it, and it never took off. Fast forward 5 years later, Liverpool used to play the top 10 singles in reverse order. And when the Jerry Marsden version was number 1 for however many weeks, Liverpool fans took it over and took it on. But it could have fitted either club. No, disaster and everything.
Yeah, Dave, that's brilliant. A little bit of history, that. I like that. Thank you very much. George Sefton, who is has been the PA announcer at Liverpool for 150 years. He's brilliant. He does do a lot of that. He breaks records, in terms of breaks them into the public consciousness, and they do catch on because he's been playing
like you said there, though,
for so long.
You never walk alone. Even if you don't support Liverpool, and obviously I'm a massive gooner, when you play at Anfield and you hear them break out, again, that is another
But it's become something.
Yeah, it's a wow moment. Even for players, it's like, wow, you actually get the emotion in the stadium. And then obviously they sing it through the games, they sing it then. They don't sing it when Liverpool score.
No,
do you know what I mean? Because
no.
they've lost their minds when Liverpool score.
Daniel is a West Ham fan in Norfolk. Hello.
Hello, fellas. How you doing? All right.
Good, thank you. You've got a different point of view on this, haven't you?
Yeah, I have. I've got a bit like a massive Gerard Bowen fan, and he's got his own song, Bowen song. I won't repeat that.
Don't do the next verse.
No.
I won't do it. I think it's got to go on last minute winner and that come on, and when it's now it's a little bit quiet at the Olympic Stadium. I can't see how it wouldn't help. Do you know what I mean? I think he would a little bit more on that, you know?
Okay, but hold on a second. You're breaking up a little bit, so I'm not going to finish your sentence for you, but I'm going to suggest that one of the reasons why it might work in that circumstance is, one, because it's a song that is specifically associated with a particular player or a West Ham, like it's a West Ham associated song, whereas this one isn't. It's just got the word Chelsea in it. It doesn't mean anything about the football club, or it hasn't been taken on by the supporters as something that they sing. So that your one might enhance it, but it comes from an organic song which has been started by the supporters.
Yeah, but also, Dan, it's up to the supporters if they want to sing it. You know, if Jarrod Bowen scores, in that moment, every West Ham fan will lose their heads, right? Then after the goal has been given, then if they want to sing it, that's up to the fans. It shouldn't be something that's forced upon you.
Yeah.
I can't hear you, Daniel. Sorry about that, mate. I know you've got some good points, but we keep breaking up, unfortunately, so we're going to have to let you go. We'll try and get you back on a different line. Sam is a Norwich fan. Hello.
Hello, lads.
Hello, Sam.
Loving the show. I was just wanting to say, Norwich, we've had a song played for about 20-odd years. Samba de Janeiro. I don't know if you've heard it or whether you can play a segment of it.
What is it?
Had a goal.
What is it? Is it on? It's not on the Ball City, is it?
No, so that's at the start of the game.
Yeah.
But when we score, they play Samba de Janeiro. I don't know if you've heard it.
Yeah, I do know it. Yeah.
Yeah, but is that?
So we still go mental for a song and celebrate it as what you want, but you still then have that to sing along to. And that's been going on for so many years. So, and we've not had American owners until actually recently. So
how did it start?
I agree with your point. How did it start? I don't know. It was doing. I mean, I'm 30 now. They've been doing it since early 2000s, definitely.
So I just wonder whether or not, like, it started with a fan chant that sort of ended up sort of becoming quite popular, and then they decided to put the song to it. I don't know.
No idea, but it's always worked at Carrow Road. Especially if there's a late winner, as you can imagine, everyone's still celebrating, going mental, and then you still got that bit to sing along until kick-off.
But that's been part of your culture now for 20 years.
Is that because the fans have taken ownership of that song? Again, it's the fans' choice that they sing that song not when you've scored, but after obviously you've scored, then you sing it. You don't sing it as the goal's going in or as you're celebrating. What Sam's saying is it gets played as soon as the goal's scored. At Stamford Bridge gets played, and you're invested in that song because it's yours. Chelsea fans aren't invested in the Fratellis because it's not about Chelsea Football Club.
Fratellis hate Chelsea, which makes it even worse.
That's funny.
I understand that, but Samba de Janeiro isn't about Norwich, and you have to take to it at some point, don't you?
Yeah, I suppose there's a catch point where if you keep persisting with something, eventually it becomes
That's what I'm saying.
your tune.
They've invested in that song.
But it just needs to be fan-led, doesn't it? I think it just needs to be
fans have decided that we will invest in this song, and they've taken ownership of that song.
Sam, great call. Thank you very much for getting in touch with us and teaching us about that. We appreciate it. Let's go off to Angelina Kelly because finally, after a lot of injury time, the game at Arsenal's finished.
Yes, full time. Arsenal 1, Brighton 0. Arsenal get their first win in 5 games today, earning 3 vital points, especially if they want to keep up with the likes of league leaders Chelsea. Their £1 million signing Olivia Smith's cross shot took a big deflection off Marissa Olislegers to give Arsenal the win. And whilst they had an array of chances throughout the game, the intensity after the goal did drop and is a little concerning. It's becoming a bit of a running theme here with the Gunners. Brighton responded really well, though. They did have a few chances to try to get back into the game. You do have to remember that they were without their usual forward, Michelle Adjeman, who was unable to play as she's an Arsenal loanee player, but she was in the crowd today. Both goalkeepers made some vital saves, with Daphne Van Donselaar walking away from this game as player of the match and with her head held high after errors midweek in their Champions League loss to Lyon. Arsenal, in front of a crowd of over 27,000, go back to 5th in the table. Brighton stay 7th. Full-time, Arsenal 1, Brighton 0.
Thank you very much to Angelina Kelly, who's been watching the game at the Emirates Stadium. As she says, up to 5th, 11 points from 6 games for Arsenal and Renée Slegers, the Champions League winners from last year. And they're victorious over Brighton, who dropped to 7th in the table. The London City Lionesses, after their big victory today, go up into 6th, which is a great position for them to be in. Brian T. Smith has been watching the Jets put points on the board, but they can't run in any touchdowns today. They've all come from field goal kickers.
Yeah, Sam, that's exactly it. It is a defensive battle, and we're at a critical point in this game. The Denver Broncos lead 10-9 with 4:56 left in the third quarter at a sunny, absolutely packed Tottenham, but they're at their 3-yard line right now. So the Jets are playing good defense. They don't have an offense, but they're playing good defense. Can the Broncos move the ball, or are they going to give the Jets great field position late in the third quarter at Tottenham?
Thank you very much to Brian T. Smith. Back with him very shortly. Next on the Sunday session. Don't think this will be a very good bit of goal music, gotta be honest.
Long intro.
Leave Me Alone by Fred again on the Costa story from Mason, the Liverpool fan. Next, we're going to be looking ahead to this evening's Scotland match and Wales against Belgium tomorrow. Crucial match for Craig Bellamy. Big day in the WSL today. Chelsea won, Manchester United won, London City Lionesses won 1-0 as well to go up into the top half of the table. Arsenal have just beaten Brighton after 13 minutes of injury time. And Liverpool take on Manchester City in the next few minutes. Back with Steve Hospital very shortly. Scotland Belarus is at 5 o'clock. We're going to go to David Tanner next. Denver Broncos 10, New York Jets 11 now. They can't stop kicking the New York Jets, but they can't force any sort of touchdown. Although that might be about to change very shortly. That lead might go back to the Denver Broncos in the next few minutes. We'll see. In the Gallagher Premiership, Harlequins 17, Saracens 14. Saracens winning their first 2 games of the season, but losing today at the Stoop. And you're up to date from talkSPORT. Now, there has been an increase in verbal and physical abuse towards officials that's impacting all levels of football, with referees quitting the Grassroots game and fixtures going unplayed. If you have any involvement with Grassroots football, it'd be good if you can share your experiences with us, because we want to hear you in the talkSPORT dugout. The dugout is on the talkSPORT app. It's on the website. It's at talksport.com/dugout. To sign up, you can join the discussion as well. You can also listen to our very special show on Kickoff on Wednesday, 7 o'clock, and we're going to delve deeper into refereeing situation in Grassroots football, which has got a little bit of an issue. Let's take a look at the biggest game of the weekend with Enterprise Rent-A-Car.
The biggest game of the weekend on talkSPORT with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever it is, we're here for it.
And I'm delighted to say David Tanner is back with us ahead of Scotland against Belarus tonight. Obviously, you've heard the team news. We know what the situation is. If they win tonight and Denmark win as well, it's guaranteed that Scotland will get at least a playoff place going into the March internationals. That'd be a playoff place in the rather convoluted two-game playoff situation that could take you to the World Cup. But let's just talk about the feeling behind the Scotland team. What would it mean to actually qualify for a World Cup for the first time since 1998? Because this is a country that consistently qualified in the 70s and 80s.
Absolutely. I've just bumped into Big Jim Leighton, the former Manchester United, Aberdeen and Hibernian goalkeeper, and I tweeted out a photograph of him a short time ago, and it took me quite a while to write out all the World Cups that Jim played at. He played at Mexico 86, Italia 90, Scotland didn't make it, of course, to the USA in 1994. This World Cup, therefore, is something of we've got a score to settle. And they played in the week of his 40th birthday at France 1998. So he is now in his 60s, Jim. The oldest player to have played in a men's World Cup. The youngest player to have played at a men's World Cup for Scotland is Simon Donnelly, who's 50 now. So this is a generation that really wants to have a go. When he was appointed manager 6 years ago, Steve Clarke was told to take the team to major finals. And after a 23-year gap, he led his side to Euro 2020 during COVID, and then again at the Euros in 2024. The World Cup is the itch that Clarke is still to scratch. He's a Chelsea player. He was cut from the final squad by Andy Roxburgh for Italia 90, which was Scotland's 5th consecutive World Cup. Now, after 6 failed World Cup campaigns, an unbeaten start to this abbreviated 4-team Group C has allowed Scotland to dream of flying across the Atlantic next year. At 62, this is likely to be Steve's last campaign and almost certainly his last World Cup. But one thing you will not hear anybody say around Hampden Park is at least nothing can go wrong now.
David, you said there Scotland have been very good under Steve Clarke against the nations ranked below them. I think last 11 games against nations ranked 100th or lower, they've won those 11 games. So does Steve Clarke go down as Scotland's greatest ever manager? Because if he wins tonight, which we think they will do, it'll be his 32nd win, and he's been the manager for the most games Scotland, now he's 72. So does he go down as Scotland's greatest ever manager?
Listen, I think he's got a real shout for it. We've got to get there, first of all, there's no doubt about that, but certainly he's got more international games under his belt now than Craig Brown. He's got 11 more than the likes of Jock Stein, more than Walter Smith, more than Alex McLeish, who, they did a good job, but they couldn't get Scotland over the line to the final. So Steve was the guy who broke that 23-year barren run. And I have to tell you, I've been covered pretty much every game in that period. I thought we'd never get to another final. I thought football had moved on from the nation that gave birth to international football, Scotland. But this is the guy who got the group together again. It's a terrific group, but it's suddenly getting a little bit older. Andy Robertson earns his 88th cap today, not in the Liverpool team anymore. John McGinn gets his 81st today, moving ahead of Darren Fletcher, a fabulous player who didn't make one final appearance, let alone 3. So if Scotland can get through this group, and I think they've got a chance of winning the group, let alone the playoffs, Steve Clarke becomes the first Scotland manager to have taken this nation to 3 major tournaments. So therefore, he would then, and it would be undisputed, be the best manager of all time.
Thank you very much. Back with you throughout the course of the evening. That's David Tanner, who's watching at Hampden as Scotland take on Belarus. And if they win tonight and Denmark win too, they will get a playoff place for the World Cup in 2026. That was a look at the biggest game of the weekend with Enterprise Rent-A-Car.
The biggest game of the weekend on talkSPORT with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Here for it. Book now at enterprise.co.uk.
And Steve Hoffersall is watching Liverpool-Manchester City, where they're just underway.
Yeah, just starting. 4:45 kick-off here. Liverpool desperate to put a win on the board in the WSL. Their manager Gareth Taylor perhaps even more so after losing his job at City back in March. Fixture not coming at a good time though. The Reds have stuttered so far this season, 4 straight defeats. On the other hand, City have scored 14 in their last 4 games. They're going to be tough to keep out. One change for both sides. Gemma Evans in at right back for Liverpool. And for City, the rising teenage star Iman Benny starts in attack. Of course, Chelsea's win over Spurs today means City need 3 points to keep on the tails of the rivals at the top. Liverpool, they just want a point on the board after this one today. So we're 1 minute into it. As yet, no goal mouth action. Liverpool 0, Man City 0.
Yeah, this is Liverpool's 5th game of the season. They've got no points so far. Manchester City, if they win, will go within a point of Chelsea, having played 5 games at present. Let's get the latest from the Wales camp, because Craig Bellamy is speaking ahead of tomorrow night's game. Huge game with Belgium, and this is what he's had to say to the media.
This is like exactly the opportunity you want, but at the same time as well, and this is how I work, like my psyche works, it's not all over if it doesn't happen. Trust me. We adapt. We go again. I'm prepared if we win. I'm prepared if we draw. I'm prepared if we lose. Consistent in what I like to do. Even from the game, say for instance Thursday, it becomes even clearer. I'm prepared for whatever happens, and I always am.
Craig Bellamy, who is just headline after headline after headline when he does a press conference. Lawrence Mora is our Wales correspondent. He joins us now. Hi, Lawrence.
Hello, how you doing, Sam?
Hello, Lawrence. Yeah, we've spoke quite a lot this week, and one thing that never lets us down is Craig Bellamy's ability to come up with headlines. He's prepared for whatever happens tomorrow night, but his team are going to have to be a little bit more robust, aren't they?
They certainly are, and I think that was one of the messages he was getting over here at the beautiful Hensall complex where Wales are training this week. I think it's one that, look, we have to take learnings from Thursday. He talked about kind of being able to have that extra time to run through with the players, and that everyone was feeling a little bit down. They felt like they let themselves down a little bit against England. But then that result for Belgium and the draw against North Macedonia really perked up the group, and there is so much riding on the game against Belgium. Of course, all 3 teams at the top of the group, if they win their games, they can win the group. So it is all to play for going into that huge game at the Cardiff City Stadium.
Lawrence, Craig said there that in his press conference that he learns from everything, whether they win, whether they draw, whether they get beat. He must have learnt from the England game. He can't be as tactically naive again against Belgium, what he was against England, where asking his players to press high up the pitch where they weren't engaged. You mentioned North Macedonia there. They went basically a flat back 5, didn't they, against Belgium, and ended up drawing 0-0, even though Belgium had nearly 80% possession. So surely Craig Bellamy's got to change his philosophy for this game.
Yeah. Hey, so Perry, I asked him that question on after the game on Thursday, and he threw it back at me today and said, we didn't press. We weren't, that's not what we were doing. We sat in, we had adapted, we'd done it. So,
he's watching a different game to us then.
He's watching a different game to the one
Sam just looked at me there, right?
Yeah.
I was watching it on telly, and sometimes you don't get the right perspective on telly, right?
Yeah.
Sam just looked at me, he was at the game. There's no way that Wales sat back and tried to absorb pressure and were well organised.
No, absolutely not. I completely agree with you. but he threw it back at me today and said that we didn't adapt. They didn't press. There weren't triggers. So, you know, I'm going to have to bow to his greater knowledge.
Oh, do you know what?
Sam
They were better in the second half, but maybe.
Do you know what, Lawrence? What he might be saying is they didn't press the way that he wanted them to, maybe, because they didn't buy into it. they knew that they were going to be exposed. You could tell it was a half-hearted press. So maybe that's what he's saying, but he definitely asked his team to do that.
Yeah, it certainly felt like that, and that's what they've been under Craig Bellamy. They've been that front foot team that have pressed from the front and really pushed teams back. I'm expecting him to do that tomorrow with the crowd behind him, going early, needing a win, and it just depends how he picks the side. I think Keith Moore has been a fantastic servant for Wales. He continues to be a really important part of the squad, but the way that he does ask the teams to press, you do wonder if that kind of big number 9 up front actually helps the situation when they're trying to press like that, or whether he needs a different profile of player in that position.
Who would you put?
Well, the other thing about that was when the ball went up to Kiefer Moore, it didn't stick. That was a massive issue. There was no outball for Wales. So whether they were trying to press from the front or whether they were dropping deep doesn't really matter. If the ball goes up to Kiefer Moore and he doesn't hold on to it, that's a major problem. He was dropping deep at times when I thought maybe you need to stretch it a little bit and then receive it, hold on to it, and then they can build from there. But they didn't even do that.
But the reason it didn't stick is because he didn't have Johnson, Wilson and Brooke. They weren't close enough to him.
No, they weren't.
So then one of the centre Stones or Guehi, they could then go in and try and win it.
It looked a little bit ragged on Thursday night, but it was a friendly game, and hopefully tomorrow night is much more coordinated. We're looking forward to hearing about it. Lawrence, I know that you'll be there. Thank you very much for joining us today. Appreciate that. And always good to hear from Craig Bellamy. He is a content machine, isn't he? Brian T. Smith, he's also a content machine. He's watching the NFL at Tottenham Hotspur. What's happening?
It's getting fun, Sam. This reminds me of the game last week that I was watching, calling with you. You get into the fourth quarter, not much scoring, defense takes over, and we just had 2 huge plays. The Jets had a fumble. Garrett Wilson fumbled the ball. It was overruled by a ref, and then Justin Fields, the Jets quarterback, just had his helmet ripped off. The Jets are on the verge of stealing this game. They cannot score a touchdown. Justin Fields cannot throw the ball, but they're up 11-10 over the Denver Broncos as the fourth quarter begins. Denver should win this game. They've got the better quarterback, the better offense. They are going to regret this all season if they give the New York Jets their first win of the year at Tottenham.
Thanks, Brian. I'm going to be quick here. Ian Danta, our friend, has texted me. And
the guru. Dancy's the guru.
He's talking about goal music. He said, I was asked by Trevor Francis when I worked at the PA at Birmingham City to go and ask the players about having individual goal music for each of them when they scored, just as an idea. We went to the training ground. When the squad were at lunch, the first player approached was Martin Granger. You remember Martin Granger?
He loved to tackle. He was very physical. Started for Costa United, actually, mine.
What music would work for you if you scored, Martin? Said Dance. Deadpan, he replied, please release me. I told Trevor Francis, probably best to abandon the idea. He said it probably was around 1998. Right, next on the Sunday session.
It's not there any longer. Something happened somewhere and we both know why.
Jenny in Cheshire. I don't want to fight from Tina Turner from Costa.
Yes, he does.
He does. He does. He definitely does. Keep them coming. 03717 223344. This is talkSPORT on the Sunday session.
I don't care who's wrong or right. I don't really want to fight. habits lead to late nights, sitting alone, conversations with
I had this in my ears when I was running around today, by the way. Just trying to get me going. I think I got to about mile 10 and I had this going on me. I was like, come on, the bad habits are costing you now. The Ed Sheeran, Bad Habits from Kieran the Celtic fan for the Haaland story. And My Head is a Jungle by MK, Costa story from Jimmy the Gooner. That's our sounds of the weekend this weekend. Erling Haaland loves the Sunday roast. He thinks it's the best way to refuel after a big Premier League game. And Diogo Costa is still fighting defenders, even at the grand old age of 79. This is talkSPORT. It's time for this.
I'm a scat man.
He's 19 years of age. He only made his little debut 12 years ago. No manager has ever started their Premier League career with as many pints as you have. Ashley Young has been replaced as well by Sean Dyche. Oh, God, he's got it right in the peanuts.
Sam Matterface.
I'm a scat man.
Dom's not here today, but he would be delighted.
Oh, is he foreign England?
He is. He's going to. I think I'm going to see him in Riga in the next couple of days.
Think he might make first half hour?
Yeah, I think
he's in the bar.
He's arrived already. Yeah, I thought he would have done. Yeah, that sounds like Dom. But he's not here. He would be absolutely delighted that we're playing this because he spent a lot of time collating all of my annoying bits that I'd messed up and putting them together in one great big sort of montage. Northern Ireland have won their last 5 competitive home games by an aggregate score of 12-0, winning 5 such games in a row without conceding for the first time in their history. Well done. They're level on points at the top of the table with Germany as well.
That's a collective right there. As a collective. Jordan Pickford is the first ever goalkeeper to keep a clean sheet in 8 consecutive 90-minute appearances for the England men's team.
And do you know what?
He's underrated, by the way.
Seriously, and I mentioned this, I think, on Thursday night we did the commentary. He's only ever made 1 error leading to a goal.
Don't say it too much. Don't say it too much. Don't never say that again.
Don't ever say it.
No, never say that again.
We won't say it.
No.
England scored 3 goals inside the opening 20 minutes against Wales. It was the first time they've managed to do that since they beat Yugoslavia in November 1987. I remember that game because I'd been fighting with my brother. I was banned from watching the TV and I had to listen to it on the radio.
And so just sticks in
my mind.
Yeah. Sticking with the game against Wales and England. England named the starting 11 without a player from at least one of Chelsea, Liverpool or Manchester United for the first time since June 1992 against France.
Yeah, I mentioned that on there.
None of the big hitters represented.
Surprise, really, wasn't it? Next on the Sunday session.
We work hard, play hard, keep partying like it's your job.
Our sounds of the weekend continue. James from Manchester says, what about this for the Haaland story? Work hard, play hard by David Guetta. Of course, works perfectly. Next, we're going to be joined by top sports lawyer Francesca Petriccioni. She's going to talk to us about the growth of the Saudi League.
Premier League's profit and sustainability rules are sold to us as financial fair play, a way to keep clubs from going bust. But there are those who feel it's starting to look a lot like a system that protects the big boys and keeps the rest in their lane. Here's how it works and why people feel that way. So clubs can only lose 105 million quid over 3 years, which sounds fair, but here's the kicker. Your limit includes how much you earn. So if you're one of the traditional top 6, you've got massive global revenue streams and you can spend way more while still technically following the rules. Meanwhile, ambitious clubs who've got money like Newcastle, Villa or Forest, well, they're bringing a knife to a gunfight. Newcastle might be backed by Saudi billions, but they just can't splurge the cash. Their commercial income isn't there yet. Want to buy world-class talent? Well, PSR says to them, your owner might have the money, but you're not making enough in shirt sales in Asia for that. The Magpies won their first domestic trophy since 1955, qualified for the Champions League, which you'd think would be a great springboard for them to go on and start building a team to challenge at the top. But because of PSR restraints, they couldn't break their wage structure for a new Alexander Isak contract, and look what's happened there. Nottingham Forest tried to invest to survive. They did that, but they got punished anyway. Meanwhile, clubs like Spurs, until last season, hadn't won a trophy in over 18 years, but because they rake
here.
Oh, and he's found the net! What a run and what a goal!
There.
He hits it first time. What a volley, what a goal!
On Sundays.
Oh, what a goal!
We are everywhere. On DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM. Strap yourself in. It's Destination Football. The Sunday Session on talkSPORT.
Hello, this is the Sunday Session. You're listening to Sam Matterface alongside the former Arsenal winger, title winner Perry Groves is here. Just kicked off at Hampden Park with 3.5 minutes into what could be a massive game for Steve Clarke. Here's David Tanner.
And it's still Scotland 0, Belarus 0. I can tell you that Belarus have dominated the ball since they took kick-off 4 minutes ago. They're playing an all mint green strip. Scotland all in navy blue. The Belarusians are generally been the whipping boys of this group, but it's interesting to note that their captain is Alexander Martinovic, the captain of Kara Almaty, who successfully knocked Celtic out of the Champions League in the qualifiers. It's Scotland 0, Belarus 0.
Not a link I don't think that many Scotland fans will want to revisit. WSL scores from earlier on today. Chelsea winners, top of the table. Manchester United trying to keep pace with them. 4-1 winners away at Everton. Aston Villa 0, Leicester City 0. London City Lionesses up into the top half. They beat West Ham, who were bottom of the lot and still without a point by a goal to 0. Arsenal beat Brighton after a series of disappointing results. They've got 3 points back on the board today, but it wasn't one-way traffic at the Emirates Stadium. And what's the latest between Liverpool and Manchester City, who are trying to close the gap to Chelsea? Steve Hoffesall.
It's goalless at the moment, but City tormenting Liverpool in the first 15 minutes. Sharper, more physical, in charge of the game. Best chances for Vivian Medema. Borgraf's kept her at bay twice. Liverpool need to ride the storm, but it's only intensifying. Liverpool 0, Manchester City 0.
NFL game is into the fourth quarter at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Are the Jets going to win for the first time this season? Brian T. Smith.
They are trying. They are playing We Will Rock You by Queen. The Jets fans here, I mean, this place is packed. It is loud. It's 4th and 1 at the Jets' 26-yard line. I will be shocked if they go for it. But they don't really have an option because they don't have an offense. So they have to keep the ball moving. They can't give it back to Denver. We're going to see very quickly if they actually go for it. Justin Fields, the Jets quarterback, has only thrown for 38 yards, but the Jets might steal this win in London, Sam.
Happens. We've only got a few minutes remaining. Back with you throughout the course of the next hour in the Gallagher Prem. It's been a fantastic day for Harlequins. They got the first win of the season. They've beaten Saracens 20 points to 14 in the ATP Shanghai Masters finals earlier on today. Valentin Vachereau from Monaco created history. He won his first ATP Masters finals. He beat his cousin in the final, having already beaten Novak Djokovic. Great story. Coco Gauff walked off with the women's title. It's the Sunday Session. You're up to date from talkSPORT. And however you watch us, whatever you do, you can now watch us on the TV. Samsung, LG TVs, Fire TV, Chromecast, Apple TV. We're there. talkSPORT is live on your screen as well as your speakers. We want to hear from you as well. If you've got anything to say, 0371722 3344. That's the number to call. The Saudi Pro League is not trying to copy the Premier League, according to a top sports lawyer, Francesca Petriccioni. The stars like Cristiano Ronaldo, Karim Benzema, Ivan Toney have all moved to Saudi in recent windows, who's close to $2 billion allocated every season on transfers, agents' fees and wages. The Saudi Pro League has the stated aim of becoming a top 5 league in the world one day, but it's a patient project that will be judged in 2027 when the Asian Cup comes to Saudi. Then 3 years later, when so-called Vision 2030 is realised, 4 years after that, Saudi Arabia will host the 2034 World Cup. Saudi Arabia actually has a rather relatively quiet summer this summer, especially compared to 2023 when almost 100 foreigners arrived. Over 700 million was spent on transfer fees. But Darwin Nunez, Kingsley Coman, João Felix and Matteo Retegui still have arrived. Let's speak to Francesca Petriccioni. She joins us now. Very good afternoon to you. Thanks for coming on the programme.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Hi, Francesca.
Francesca, you've obviously been looking at this league for quite a while. Has it been a bit of a surprise that the Saudi League so far hasn't quite kicked on to the level that it was seemingly threatening to do when it first came into existence with all of this money that was spent right at the very beginning of this splurge?
Well, we can say that at first glance, the summer just gone has been noticeably quieter in terms of blockbuster transfers. We had fewer headlines, but that's not a step back. In fact, it's the most strategic move they could have made. As you were saying, the first wave back in 2023, 2024 was about visibility. It was signaling the football world, we are here to compete, and within few years we'll be among the most important football leagues in the world. So by bringing players like Cristiano Ronaldo, like Benzema, like Kanté, the message was loud and clear. We're here to compete. So now I'd like to use the word transformative instead of quieter in terms of the transfer window. Why? Because we are in a second phase of this ambitious project. We are in the phase not of visibility anymore, but definitely in the consolidation phase. And this is where it gets genuinely interesting because this is the part that determines whether the project is sustainable.
Francesca, what are the viewing figures like, obviously, on the TVs in Saudi Arabia and around the world, watching the games? And what are the attendances like in the actual games themselves?
Now what's happening is a recalibration. There's less noise and more substance. The Ministry of Sport, together with the Saudi Pro League and the Saudi Arabian Football Federation, has been focusing on club governance reforms, youth infrastructures, technical capacity building. That means giving more strength to the scouting systems, aligning sports science departments, investing in data analytics, perhaps most importantly, nurturing Saudi talent through academies that are now modeled on the best ones in Europe.
Do you think that we'll have another splurge ahead of 2030? Will the league ramp up its transfer business by signing big-name players again?
Yes, of course, we will have a second wave of big names. But as I was saying, this time will be different because there is more awareness. They are in this second phase. They are building. We are all witnessing this pivotal moment in the Saudi Pro League's journey, where they are concretely realizing something that is tangible. Nowadays, there isn't a country, there isn't a place more exciting for the football players in joining Saudi Arabia.
Francesca, isn't the problem you said about obviously the big name signings? We mentioned Benzema, mentioned Cristiano Ronaldo, Darwin Núñez, João Felix. That's all very well, but in the games themselves, the drop off from players at that standard to the other players in the team is far too big.
We have to consider that now, for example, last summer we have had Matteo Retegui transfer that signed a shift from the PIF's Big Four to the Al Qadisiyah club, which is owned by the big giant Aramco. And this means that, again, they're not looking only at football players like Ronaldo who are at the end of their careers. They're looking at football players in their prime that they can still give a lot, and they can also build something that lasts forever. The legacy, they can join the momentum, but there's something that will last forever. They are executing a long-term project.
What's the attraction of going to play football in Saudi Arabia, apart from the obvious, which is obviously a great pay packet and a huge salary? But how do they sell it to players that are not at the end of their career and not coming towards the end of their career? Because most of the competitive players that want to be in the Champions League, want to be able to win big titles, they're not thinking about Saudi Arabia as a dream destination, are they?
Yes. We have to think that Saudi Arabia is not only known, of course, for the football, but it's an amazing country with a long history, rich culture. So it became interesting also from another perspective for these young players. So it's not only a matter of money, as most of us think. There's also something else interesting, as well as the football career, that it's worth to be lived, to be experienced.
Okay, thank you very much for coming on. We appreciate it. That's Francesca Petriccioni, who's joined us to talk about the emergence of the Saudi Pro League and sort of explain to us what their strategy is going forward. We appreciate you coming on. It's interesting, isn't it? Because I think all of us thought once it started, it was never going to stop. There was just going to be wave after wave of players going there. I mean, Vinicius Junior has been linked there. Bruno Fernandes has been linked there recently as well. Mo Salah is continuously linked with a move. But I think that still holds, doesn't it? The fact that the players at the top of their game the top players don't really want to go and play there because it's not as competitive as obviously the Premier League and even most of the European leagues.
Also, they know at the moment Saudi Arabia is still going to be there, at the end of their careers when they get to like the 32s and 33s. And we all know, obviously, you said about the financial rewards because you have to be there, I think, for 2 years, don't you? Because then it becomes tax-free, whatever money that you earn. What I was meant to say to Francesca is, if they want to be serious, they have to improve the infrastructure of the youth teams.
I'm going to have to stop you because I think we're going to have a goal here at Hampden Park. It was initially ruled out for offside, but there is a VAR check and it looks very tight indeed. David Tanner.
Oh, I think it's got to be a goal for Scotland. It's still Scotland 0, Belarus 0. But Shea Adams has put the ball in the back of the net. A terrific turn shot, fed through by a Saudi-based player, by the way, Jack Hendry. They are taking some time, and it's a goal for Scotland, according to VAR. I don't know why it took them so long. He was clearly onside, but now Shea Adams can celebrate getting the goal. The Tartan Army can celebrate as well. And how Scotland have needed that, because it's been a really nervy first 15 minutes for them. A couple of the best opportunities falling to Belarus. They had 3 corner kicks, but It's Scotland who get the goal, and Shea Adams gets his 11th goal and his first in scoring against Belarus last month. 1-0 Scotland.
Scored against Belarus in that behind closed doors friendly. Scored against them again tonight. It was a really smart finish. It was a defender at the right back playing him onside. He received the ball inside the D. He got past the defender and he shot perfectly beyond the goalkeeper. It was a brilliant goal from Shea Adams, and he's had a very productive 2025 for Scotland. That's his 5th goal in Scotland colours.
Do you know what? His first touch with his right foot is fantastic, and his second touch, which takes him and spins away from defender, is better. And the most important touch, the third one, where he hits it just as the ball's on the rise, he hits it on the volley and just hits it into the ground, gives the goalkeeper absolutely no chance. As you said there, Sam, have we not got automated offsides here? Because we could tell even looking at the screen when they just froze it that the right back was playing Chadham's well onside. So why does it take that long?
Very, very strange that it did take that long. But either way, the drama was ramped up and Scotland benefited from it. They lead by a 1-0. Congratulations to Steve Clough and for Shea Adams. It was a brilliant finish. Let's go to the WSL. Steve Hoffersaw was watching Liverpool against Manchester City, and Liverpool had an early injury issue.
Yeah, they have had a problem. They've had to make a change, actually, because Marie Hobbinger has stopped holding her knee. A collision which didn't look like anything sort of well, it certainly wasn't a nasty collision, but it's forced her off. She was in distress when she left the field, so she has been replaced by Kirsty McLean. So the game was halted for about 3 or 4 minutes. No doubt City are the better outfit here. Half an hour gone. They've not made it count, though. Liverpool have soaked it up. Vivian Medima's had 2 efforts saved by the Liverpool keeper, and Karsten Caspary had the best chance, but couldn't finish either. Liverpool done really well to keep City out. 34 minutes on the clock. Liverpool 0, Manchester City 0.
Let's go back to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Not for the first time today. Garrett Wilson had the ball in his hands for the New York Jets, and then he didn't, Brian T. Smith.
That's exactly it, Sam. And I've covered a lot of football. I've been covering the NFL for 15, 20 years. I've never seen a quarterback have as bad of a day as Justin Fields. He was just sacked again. He is 8 of 15. He's only thrown for 38 yards. The Jets are technically still in this game. It's 13-11 Denver Broncos with 3:30 left, but they have no offense, and they were booed off the field at halftime at Tottenham. Denver should win this game and retain first place of the AFC West, but I don't know if the Jets will get one more shot. If they do, can Justin Fields do anything on offense as a Jets quarterback?
Very much. That's Brian T. Smith, who's at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Next on the Sunday session.
It's from Dan. He loves a bit of AC/DC. Is he coming again?
It's actually from Pete, the Birmingham fan.
Well, there you go. Yeah, there's a bonding there.
Yeah, there is. There's
definitely a bonding.
little crew in
bit of heavy rock.
AC/DC and spoiling for a fight for Diego Costa. Next, we'll be looking at Sol Campbell and his comment this week that Arne Slot was lucky to inherit the squad he did at Liverpool. Back in Anger from Oasis for Diego Costa from Brandon, Leeds fan. Thank you very much for all of your contributions today. They're always very, very good when we do this. And this is Tate McRae, Guilty Conscience, on the Haaland story from Maggie in Liverpool for his love of roast dinners. Brilliant stuff. It's been fantastic to get so many responses today. Keep them coming. 0371722 3344 is the number to call. 81089 on the text. Arsenal beat Brighton 1-0 earlier on today to remain fifth in the WSL, and their big money forward Olivia Smith has been speaking to our reporter Angelina Kelly.
Honestly, all that matters is that we got the 3 points, kept a clean sheet. It's a good start to where we want to go, and yeah, just building confidence from here.
Another key contribution from you today. Are you claiming that goal?
Yeah, I'll claim whatever goal I get.
You know, you get so many shots off when you're in the final third. Talk to me about that aspect of your game, because you actually came close twice before you scored the goal which you're claiming.
I think for me it's quite frustrating now, because those are things I should be putting away, but knowing that I'm in the right positions to be in those areas is really important for me and the team, so just building confidence from that.
She was really good, actually, later in the interview, where she talks a little bit about how difficult it's been for her personally to move to London and dealing with the price tag of being a £1 million player. And it was really interesting, actually, at the beginning of the WSL season. No one wanted to be the first £1 million player. Alyssa Thompson, it wasn't quite £1 million. You know, the girl that went to London City Lionesses, the French international, Grace Guioro, didn't want. It's not £1 million. The same with Olivia. It's not £1 million. No one really wants to sort of take that tag as being the first. You understand? They just were trying to push it aside.
Do you know what? I'd go the other way around.
Would you?
Yeah, you'd want to be. Not anybody. Actually, $750,000.
How much did you cost?
$750,000.
Did you?
Waste of Southampton's money. Yes.
Southampton paid $750,000.
It's quite a lot of money back in.
And all you did was a half marathon.
Yeah, getting beat by the Pink Panther. but she played today. We can see it obviously up on the screen that wasn't laying heavy on her at all. And
no,
I used to try and claim goals back in the day where not all our games were televised, right? Trust me, Olivia Smith isn't getting that goal. It's not. It was a cross. Trust me, she's not getting the goal. It was an own goal.
Yeah, but it's a key goal contribution. You know, she did affect the play, and I think that's what Arsenal want from her. That's what Arsenal will expect from her, and I think that's what Arsenal.
It was the right decision because she was trying to cross it along the 6-yard box, but it just shows you Arsenal still aren't firing. You don't buy a
ticket, you don't get to win the lottery, do you?
Arsenal still aren't firing because Van Domsela was the man, woman of the match today. Yeah. Exactly, yeah. So you can tell that they're not really at it where they should be.
Sol Campbell has been talking this week. He's been talking about Liverpool, actually, and Arne Slot. He says Arne Slot inherited a fantastic side and won the league. He hasn't changed much. He's lucky. A new manager, good bounce. Players responded. Arteta had to get rid of some players, the deadwood. The last couple of years, he's had pretty much the team. The centrepiece is the centre forward. Finally, they've got someone. But they've got to find out how to play with him. But you have to build it. Saliba wouldn't have signed the contract until 2030 as well if he didn't believe Arsenal can win. They just have to win now. This year, they've got to win by hook or by crook, but you have to work to get a lucky break. Is he right?
On Arne Slot?
On both, really.
Arne Slot, I don't think lucky's the word. When someone comes in, I think he was fortunate, because the culture of the team was perfect. There was a synergy between the players and the fans, which obviously Jurgen Klopp managed to build it over that sort of period of time. But it's not lucky for what he did. And we've had this conversation before. He had no ego. He could have gone in there. How many managers go and say, right, forget how you've played Postecoglou, right?
I was waiting for that.
Right, but forget how you've played before. This is why I play. Sam, you watched a load of Liverpool games. I watched them. All he did, he just tweaked it a little bit where he thought, actually, no, I love the way that we go forward, but I'm going to have Gravenberch or McAllister. We're just going to be a little bit more disciplined and have one sit in front of the two centre-halves, sometimes two when we're playing in the big games. I didn't realise they had one. It's Federico Chiesa came in at 12.5 million. They got £62.5 million worth of players going out. So they won the Premier League with a £50 million profit. That's pretty good. Do you know what I mean? That's not lucky. The thing I think that with Mo Salah is he got them out a lot of trouble with games where they didn't play very well. His stats were off the scale. It's 34 goals and 23 assists, all comps. In the Premier League, 29 goals and 18 assists. So he got them out of trouble in games where they weren't playing well. And I said that Mo Salah wouldn't get anywhere near those stats this season because his stats have been brilliant before, but not on that level, and he's got nowhere near.
Well, not yet. And
he won't.
We were getting to the end of October now, and that is going to be very difficult for him. But he has contributed already this season. He hasn't been playing particularly well, but he has contributed, especially to some of those late victories and points that were put on the board late in games. He's been a big part of it. And, that's the other thing about Liverpool is that even though they haven't been at their very best, they have put points on the board, and they're not too far away from Arsenal. But is he right about Arsenal that they have to win by hook or by crook this time around?
Yes.
Why is it that all of a sudden Arsenal, having not been anywhere near for ages, have got themselves into a situation where they finish runners-up in a couple of seasons consecutively, and now, unless they win the Premier League, it all has to be torn up? How is that a prudent way of going forward?
I think what he's trying to say, and I agree with him, and Mikel Arteta knows, because Mikel Arteta has changed the culture at Arsenal, and he said they got rid of all the big-time Charlies and got a lot of humble, young, hungry players in, then the pressure builds that you have to win one of the big ones. And I've said it before, we have to win either the Champions League or Premier League, not from the noise that's going to come from inside.
What do you do if you don't?
No, you know what it'll be, Sam? It'll be the noise from the outside, which will get louder and louder and louder.
But why do you let yourself be affected by that? I think if you've transformed a club the way he has, and let's be clear, he's done a very.
We were irrelevant before he got there. Exactly. We were 8th and 8th, right?
And now they're serial contenders for the Premier League. They go deep into the Champions League. Why would you even think or entertain changing that?
You wouldn't. Inside, that's what I'm saying. But from the outside, you know what it's like. It'll get if we don't win one of those, even if we win the FA Cup or the League Cup. The FA Cup. People will say, "Oh yeah, but you've got to win one of the big ones." And you're like, "Yeah, okay, I actually agree." But this group of players, they know. I think they know they're on the cusp of something fairly big. So you mentioned about Saliba signing these new contracts. Everybody thought he might be going to Real Madrid. He's looked around this group of players and thought, actually, this could be something big here. Because if you win, the first one's the hardest one to win. Once you win the first one, you could go and win the next 3 out of the next 4. You know what I mean? Or 4 out of the next 5. So,
well, you know what that was like to be in a team that did that.
Yeah, we won obviously famously in '89, and then George Graham got rid of 4 or 5 players, brought David Seaman in, brought Anders Limpar in, brought Anne Linnigan in, and then we were the nearly invincibles in 1990-91 where we won. But you have to win the first one. It started from us winning the League Cup in 1987 when the League Cup was a massive cup to win because you can only win the League Cup, FA Cup or the League. So
there was no European football.
Exactly, yeah. So, but these group of players, you get fed up and keep coming second. You don't want to be Jimmy White of football, do you? You want to actually win one of the big ones. So I get what Sol's saying there about the pressure because it will the pressure will come. And especially after the first 7 games where I said if we were around Liverpool like 2 or 3 points after these first 7 games, that would be good to be in front of them. That's a massive. But now this group of players have not got to draw the games that they were drawing last season. That's what let them down.
Half an hour through in the game at Hampden Park. What's the latest, David Tanner?
And it's still Scotland 1, Belarus 0. Shea Adams with that terrific goal that was about a yard onside, and VAR finally cleared up. The referee had got it badly wrong when he called for offside, but he got his 11th goal of the season. His 11th goal in Scotland colours, and it's been a terrific effort. I must say, Ben Gannon-Doak on the right for Scotland has been electric at times. Here he is on the ball now. You can, and there he goes, beating 1 player, beating 2, beating 3, and the 4th player eventually gets the ball. But he is an electric form for Scotland, and I expect to see more from Ben Gannon-Doak in this game. It's Scotland 1, Belarus 0.
Yeah, 11 goals for Shea Adams as far as Scotland are concerned. 5 this year. That's great going for the Torino forward. Denver Broncos taking on the New York Jets at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. There is 1 minute and 9 seconds left on the clock in the 4th quarter of the game. Only 2 points in it, Brian T. Smith. What's happening?
Yeah, Sam, it looks like sanity should prevail in London on Sunday at Tottenham. I don't know how the New York Jets are even in this game. Justin Fields has produced the worst quarterback performance I've seen in my entire life. And it looks like the Broncos are going to finish this. They're in the victory formation, 13-11. The clock is rolling down. They're taking the field now. It is over. The New York Jets will remain winless. They will fall to 0-6. The Denver Broncos will move to 4-2. This was a tough game, a defensive game. The Broncos could not afford to lose it, and in the end, they found a way to win it because the New York Jets are just that bad.
Cheers, Brian. Thank you very much indeed. Scotland maybe could have had a penalty just moments ago. There might be a VAR check on that, because it looked to me straight away, I said to Perry Grove, that's a penalty, isn't
100%
it? Shea Adams was getting in front of his marker, and the defender came from the wrong side. He said no penalty.
He stopped Shea Adams from actually getting, from the cross that comes from the left across 6-yard box. Shea Adams is in front of the defender. The defender barges into him and kicks his foot that he's going to hit the ball with, and he stopped in connecting. So how has that not been, the referee told, go and have a look?
At the monitor, didn't.
Don't get it.
He's waved play on now. Steve Hoffersall, half-time, Liverpool-Man City. What's happening?
Yeah, whistle's just gone. Liverpool 0, Manchester City 0. To say the Liverpool keeper Rafaela Borgraf has been busy is an understatement, but Borgraf's made some big and important saves from Medema, Kaspari, Fugino and Bunny Shaw as well. City dominant but careless with some of their finishing, a lack of ruthlessness. Liverpool careless with possession and inviting Man City on them numerous times, but at the same time Gareth Taylor will also be pleased with how hard his team is working for each other. The Reds also forced into a change when Marie Hobbinger was forced off with a heavily strapped knee. Somehow the Reds have kept City out in 45 minutes. Liverpool 0, Manchester City 0.
Let's go back to the NFL because it's all over. Brian T. Smith.
Yeah, the Denver Broncos, Sam, have finished this off 13-11 at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. It went down to the very end. And credit to the New York Jets and their defense, new head coach Aaron Glenn. The defense got it done, but the New York Jets offense was just horrible. Justin Fields, the quarterback, finished 9 of 17 for 45 yards. He was sacked on the final play, sacked almost 10 times today. You just do not see that in an NFL game. And in the end, the Denver Broncos did what they had to do in London. They beat the Philadelphia Eagles last week in a huge upset. They could not afford to lose to the winless Jets. The Jets fall to 0-6. The Denver Broncos improved to 4-2. And they are the biggest threat right now, Sam, to take the AFC West, their division, from the Kansas City Chiefs. Denver is a team to watch in the NFL, and they got it done today at Tottenham.
Wow, I mean, to be sacked 10 times in one afternoon is pretty humiliating for Justin Fields and the New York Jets, and they're 0-6 for the start of the season is pretty humiliating as well. More NFL coverage throughout the course of the night is over on talkSPORT 2. All the fallout from the locker room. Will Gavin will be going into the locker room today to get all of the reaction that's over on talkSPORT 2 right now and throughout the course of the evening. Just flick between the two stations if you want. More commentary from tonight's NFL action. It's 13-11 to the Denver Broncos. Next on the Sunday session.
I wanna sing, I wanna shout, I wanna scream till the words dry out.
This is Libby in Bournemouth. Read all about it from Emily Sunday. What's this for?
Diego Costa.
Diego Costa?
Reading all about his trouble that he's causing.
I suppose so. Yeah, it could possibly be. Next, we're going to be joined by Super Alan Pardew ahead of the final word following us at 6. afternoon. This is the Sunday session with Sam Matterface. Earlier on today, big day in the WSL. Chelsea victorious. So were Manchester United. A draw between Aston Villa and Leicester City in the middle of the table. And London City Lionesses continue their good form. They picked up 3 points over West Ham United to remain rock bottom. Arsenal, bad results recently, but they put 3 points on the board today. They beat Brighton by a goal to nil. And Liverpool nil, Manchester City nil is the latest scoreline at half-time in the later match. And Manchester City, the tantalising prospect of going within a point of Chelsea should they get all three today at Anfield. Elsewhere across the football universe, Scotland 1-0 up against Belarus as we approach half-time. The Denver Broncos just about got the job done in the NFL at Tottenham. They beat New York Jets by 13 points to 11. In the Gallagher Prem, Harlequins, winless before today, beat Saracens by 20 points to 14. And you're up to date on the Sunday session from talkSPORT. At 6 o'clock tonight, when we finish, it is the final word with Alan Pardew and Natalie Sawyer today. Bit of Palace from earlier on. Steve Parish was on the show with the boys, Sean Costa and Henry Winter.
Bit of a coup, actually, to get him on. You don't get Premier League chairman on very often, do we?
He was quite interesting about a few things, actually. But one of the things he was talking about was the prospect of keeping Oliver Glasner. He said he'd opened up initial discussions with him. How important would that be for Palace, do you think?
Well, of course, it's important because he's done an unbelievable job, and he's running to the end of his contract. I think the spin would be from Steve that he's, started to talk to him, but
he suggested that it might not be
whether Oliver's speaking back to him is another thing,
or through someone else to talk to Oliver. It might be.
Well, it's not going to be an easy conversation, is it? Because obviously the guy is in an unbelievable position. He's won a trophy in Germany with a sort of unfancied Premier League team there, and he's done the same here. Something that Crystal Palace, myself, and Steve Coppell narrowly missed out on. He managed to achieve, and also followed that up with the Charity Shield. So if you're a top club, he's on the radar, and his agent will be very much aware of that. So I can imagine him sitting down in some lovely hotel. This is the agent, by the way.
Oh, right, yeah.
With a nice brandy, waiting for Steve to arrive.
Double brandy, just swilling it around.
Just swilling it around, thinking, what would you like to talk about today?
The thing like Oliver Glasner's done brilliantly is they keep losing, because Palace, obviously, in the food chain, you're going to lose your best player. And you lose Elise, lose Ebriche.
Well, it's not just Crystal Palace, by the way.
Yeah, no, but
that second
that level,
tier
exactly,
of Premier League team.
You know where you are in the future. But the team hasn't been weakened. The team hasn't dropped off yet. The levels of the team. You look at Ismail Sarr coming in and playing in, one of the 10s.
Sarr's been terrific.
Yeah, exactly. So he's taken up. So his management skills on his philosophy are brilliant, but he must be a very, very good man manager as well.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he's managed to keep the motivation level high.
Yeah.
As you know, in a club like that, you usually win a trophy, there's kind of a downward sort of trajectory from that moment, and he's managed to keep it going up, which is a great achievement. And they play Bournemouth, I think, on Saturday or Sunday next week, 4th v 6th, which we never have materialised before. I think he, from the soundings I've got and the people I know at the training ground, he's very driven, he's very organised, and and the new recruits have come in purposely bought for the system that he plays.
Yeah.
And even Eze, in a way, kind of weakened his system because he was so off the cuff. So in a way, they're probably a little bit even more disciplined this year than they were when Eze was in the team. Of course, that moment, and we don't know Palace's full season yet, whether they're going to miss Eze, whether that moment where he, smashes one in the top corner and gets you out of trouble here and there, will be a factor.
Yes. He also is a brilliant tennis player, Oliver Glasner, and has played at Wimbledon, I think, now. He was eyeing it up when I speak.
So if you're playing at Wimbledon, is it Sir Volleyer?
Yeah.
Oh, hold on a minute, because the groundsman at Wimbledon is a very, very close friend of mine.
Is he?
Because he's married to my brother's daughter.
Oh, right, okay.
And he was telling me, and obviously I've known him for years, he's been the groundsman at Wimbledon years. He said, we had Oliver play here the other day. Yeah. Tennis, right? Exactly what you're saying. And I thought to myself, I've never played tennis there.
Never had an invite.
Never had an invite.
Never had an invite.
I mean,
I think you have to be a certain level, don't you?
Well, I'm a little. Hold on a minute. I'm not a bad tennis player, by the way. I'll take Oliver on any time.
Would you? That would be a good. That would be a good.
battle.
Are you saying that Pards is the frying pan second?
But you know, like when it's family, I was a little bit like.
I can imagine you were nose out of joint.
No, when I was out of joint. When he looked at me, I'll give him that squinty look, as if saying, "Oh yeah,
is it coming?"
That was my invite. Yeah.
Exactly. Interestingly, he told me he knew someone who was a member there.
Yeah, you have to play
him
with a member.
Yes,
that is true. Yeah.
Final question before we let you go: would you have called out the England fans like Thomas Tuchel did on Thursday night?
Well, I thought it was unnecessary. Let's put it that way. I mean, he's got a great result. Okay, the team second half perhaps weren't as good as he would have liked, but first half was terrific. And he's learning the job because obviously he made all the headlines for, those comments when he didn't really need to make those comments, if you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, but he'll grow into the job. He'll understand how the British media work.
The thing is, I said that was premeditated. He wasn't lost on your mind. When after games where managers can be very emotional. And
he wasn't.
Get poked. He wasn't emotional. No, he knew he was going to say that before.
Well, you think he did it for what particular reason?
Well, as Sam was saying, he was talking about getting everybody together, getting the fans all together, invested in the England team, and he wasn't happy with the atmosphere. And I've said to Sam, trust me, when the World Cup starts...
He wasn't happy with the atmosphere at the Villa game either before. When a lot of people left really early in the
okay, yeah. Well, at some point as a manager, you do sort of make a statement like that to get a reaction. Maybe that is the plan behind it all. I don't know. I just think it was ill-advised.
Okay. Looking forward to your show.
I am. Me and Natalie tonight.
What else is coming up? Anything else you want to see?
Well, we're going to talk about the England internationals, this period where it seems a bit dull. And is it really necessary? An international period like this? Why don't we just have Premier League games and have an internationals in the week? That's one thing.
I tell you what we're going to do. We're going to change it next year.
Back to how it was.
No. Instead of having
football used to go on still when it nationals.
Exactly.
Football used to go on.
You'd be up on a Sunday night.
Absolutely.
Play on a Wednesday.
Have a few sherbets at the hotel first.
But it's changing next year. We've got a 3-week international break.
Oh my goodness!
Instead of two-week one, so it means that there's more weeks for club football.
Okay,
it's all truncated into a very small period. Thank you very much. Alan Pardew is here with Natalie Sawyer from 6 o'clock tonight. Half time. David Tanner.
And it's Scotland 1, Belarus 0. Scotland win this one, and Denmark beat Greece in their 7:45 kickoff. The Scots and the Danes will be guaranteed at least a playoff spot for the World Cup. Steve Clark's side are keeping up their end of the bargain thanks to Shea Adams' 15th minute strike. Scotland had a nervy start, and it was Belarus who conceded 14 goals in their first 3 games, who had 3 early chances. A low cross whizzed across the Scotland 6-yard box, and centre-forward German Burkowski couldn't get on the end on it. From the corner, left-back Pavel Zabulian headed into the arms of Angus Gunn. The Hampden crowd, as one, growled in disapproval, and the Scots players seemed to take the hint. There was more urgency about the play, and a few minutes after, Shea Adams' shot was touched onto the side net then the Torino striker cracked home a super opener. Incredibly, the assistant referee flagged for offside, but VAR showed that Adams was onside and by some distance when he collected Jack Henry's assist. Ben Gannon-Doak's blistering pace has created several chances for Scotland. Expect more of him in the second half. At half time, it's Scotland 1, Belarus 0.
Cheers, David. Thanks. Next on the Sunday session.
If I had your back, I wouldn't have did all that.
Summer Walker and SZA and No Love. Our Sounds of the Weekend continue. I'm guessing the No Love is for Diego Costa, because he was fighting with Martin Skirtle again yesterday. All the eating was being done by Haaland. He loves the Sunday roast, and Diego Costa
loves a parsnip.
Loves a parsnip. Loves a parsnip, especially when you drizzle a little bit of honey on them.
There you go.
I suppose that's the right recipe. We'll be hearing from a Latvian journalist ahead of England's trip to Riga on Tuesday night. That's coming next. It nearly happened.
Oh, you're gone. You seized up.
Nearly happened.
Cramp. Hold on. Is it a cramp? Thing is, are you just trying to waste time because we're coming right to the end of the show? Just let the clock tick down.
The clash, London calling for Diego Costa, still fighting with defenders, and Haaland loves a Sunday roast. So Tate McRae and Greedy, we love it. Keep them coming. Thank you very much. In fact, no, keep them coming. We're going off air now. But thank you very much for all your contributions today. Next up for England is, of course, the game against Latvia on Tuesday night. They can qualify for the World Cup with a victory. And Yanis from Baltic Football News spoke to me and Alex Crook on the Premier League All Access podcast this week to preview England's game against Latvia and discussed the Latvians' main area of concern.
The play of the goalkeeping, because that has been our main story for the last 2-3 years, because we are looking for the number one goalkeeper. The previous ones have retired our long-serving goalkeepers. There was a situation after the Wales game it was in the Euro qualifiers, where our number one goalkeeper at the time, who was a veteran, was pretty much thrown out the team because of the pitch situation after the games against Wales. So we had to look for a new goalkeeper. We tried one last year. He now is a backup. The guy who Declan Rice was talking about, the Matterface, he's now the backup, and now we have a new one who did pretty well against England. And and he did also very well against Serbia and Albania. And he has been the feel-good story, let's say, about this campaign for Latvia. But if we talk about how we need to play, obviously, it will be a defensive game for us. We will just hope for the best, and let's hope England doesn't probably. That's our main concern is our wings, because our wings are getting quite up the age. Our defensively, our left backs or right winger, left backs, right backs, and they are getting up to the age, and they are getting cooked. They're getting cooked for.
Literally no thoughts at all about winning the game. They're basically trying to keep the score down. That's the view of Yanis Bivol, who joined us on the Premier League All Access podcast, and he writes for Baltic Football News. He also told us that the stadium isn't very good, and the atmosphere won't be very good, and no one expects to turn up. And then that was recorded before they drew last night with Andorra. Goal in the game in the WSL, Steve Hoffesall.
Liverpool 1, Manchester City 0. There could be a big shock on the cards here. Cornelia Capox with a header at the far post. The Reds have withstood pressure from the very minute go in this game, but when they've had one chance, they have converted it. And Capox with her second goal of the season, and Anfield erupted for that minute. Liverpool 1, Manchester City 0.
Let's see what happens in the second half of that game. Thank you very much for joining the Sunday session. Natalie Sawyer is alongside Alan Pardew next. They'll take your calls 03717 22 33 44.